Welcome to episode 140 of the Wilderness Podcast. This episode is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Support the show at patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our supporter of the week is Brian Norwood. We're also brought to you by Audible. Get a free month and a free audiobook at audibletrial.com/wild. And before we start the episode, I just want to say, Deegan, as you may know, hasn't been playing too much. He's just taking a step back from the show for an unknown amount of time. He might return in a week. He might return in a month. He's just been busy right now with IRL stuff. It's nothing bad. There's no falling out or anything. Yeah, for the time being, we'll have some guest co-hosts for the show. I hope you enjoyed it because I did have a lot of fun this episode. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of big content came out and didn't come out. All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome to episode 140 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am your host, Dills, and subbing in for Deegan this week, we have Magpie.
Hey, what's going on?
So we got some fun stuff to talk about this week. A lot of action. First things first, though, we get an update on RuneFest. We start starting off strong, I suppose. But we go straight into the warding poll results. So some not so good news there for some of us.
30, or I guess 66-33.
Yeah, fair enough.
for a third of us, it's good news.
There's a handful, and then of course we have the big content. Is this the biggest drop of the year? This and Kebos, I would say, the two big ones. Right, almost forgot about that one. But yeah, Song of the Elves drops on us this week, so of course we're going to talk about that. And for community chatter, we get some insider information. This is a podcast exclusive of someone found out, the scoop of what may be at RuneFest this year. And on top of that, another listener found out that, okay, I shouldn't say found out, but the possibility that the Forthos dungeon got nerfed without anyone really knowing. I guess more on that when we get there. And well, of course, as well, we're going to go through the skill competition we had. We'll talk about the highest vote for that one. Anyways, before we get into all of that, Magpie, how's your week going? I guess before we get right into it, I'll just say that Deegan's just taking a step back from the show. As you may know, he hasn't really been on RuneScape. He's got some real life stuff going on, and he's just been really busy. Hasn't really been gaming too much, so he's taking a step back for an unknown amount of time. But for now, Magpie, we did that rambling episode last week.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing that, and we figured, we'll sit down and let's get an episode out. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, let's not commit to anything. We're taking it slow. We're just on a couple of dates right now. We don't want to finalize anything. But,
exactly.
I know he's got a lot of stuff going on in your life. Yeah. A lot of it good as well, but people take breaks.
Yeah, but on top of that, we have a lot of news to go through, so we can't just take a break from the show itself. So figured let's talk about all these big updates that have happened. I guess for better and for worse. But yeah, how was your week? Did you get up to anything? What's a typical week look like for your RuneScape career?
Well, that is a good question. This week wasn't really a good week. We'll get into the obviously with the update and everything, but just as a brief, running over of what my week normally is like, I guess, it's a lot of PVM, again, we talked in our ramble. I do a lot of pet hunts and stuff. A big part of that is Slayer. I won't bore you with the details of which pets are where, but I have a specific list of my priority pets that I really want to get, etc. The two big ones I've already gone with Slayer tasks, etc. So I do a lot of PVM. My other goal is eventually, hopefully, getting 50 mil Slayer experience. Maybe I don't think I'll go for 200, but 50 mil sounds like something I would really enjoy doing.
Damn. Okay.
And so it's a lot of Slayer, and then I AFK a lot of skills as well. I'm not trying to have a one-dimensional account, and so I've been doing a lot of CMI lately as well, but I do a lot of skilling, especially when I'm AFKing at work or something.
So what's CMI?
ZMI.
ZMI.
for
I think it's CMI. I was like, is that Crystal Math Labs lingo?
No. My pants are pretty clean, fortunately,
For now, we'll see.
Yeah, once I get to smithing. But anyway, this week, obviously, it's a little bit different. I mean, I guess it's best to just get right into it, because if I talk about what I did this week, I mean, I'll just be like going over Song of the Elves.
Next thing you know, we've talked about the updates. So, like for my week, really not much went on. I started streaming this Hardcore Iron Man in PvP Worlds. So you can check that out. I'm trying to actually get a whole streaming schedule going, because the job I'm at now, it's a full-time job, Monday through Friday. That contract ends actually at the end of this week. So I don't start that job again. And when I do, it's part-time, and that starts in October. So I want to try my hand at, living the content creator lifestyle, but I want to try doing all the full-time streamer stuff. I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. That's my ambitions, at least. I don't know. We'll
go for it, dude.
Yeah, more on that in a week or so. We'll see how fast I burn out. But yeah, the Hardcore Iron Man's been pretty fun. It's a huge change of pace and had some really exciting moments when you like almost die. And
yeah, I watched you stream a couple times. I noticed like you don't have really a bunch of teleports unlocked, so I was worried like that first initial early game would be the toughest. Like, I don't know what it's like in PvP Worlds. Do you get a lot of like low level accounts just running through doing quests and shit in Lumbridge?
Not so much like quests. It's weird, so the way I'm doing it is I'm trying to do every quest like one to the other. I don't want to do any long skilling grinds to like, I'm going to grind out my combat so I can beat, I can beat Demon Slayer. Instead, I want to beat every single quest that I can do before that, and then hopefully do that quest and beat it with the stats that I got from doing the other quests. So that means there's a lot of running to the windmill to get bread and make pies, because I'm not doing the fishing grind unless I have to. So it's been fun, but it also means I'm like a low combat level for a long time. I've probably done it might have been like 15 hours I played on it, and I'm still like level 20. So it's pretty low, and the problem is at that level you have a lot of mage pures because they're easy to make and they hit really hard. So you start bumping into them when I get to like level 15, and they can you'll have 15 health and they can hit 12s. So it can be kind of scary. But that also just means you need to plan, if you're traveling, you need to plan the safest route, which sometimes takes a long time. So it's been fun.
I noticed a couple times you were like in that Draenor Port Sarum area, getting resources and stuff. But like, have you got like a big overarching plan, I guess, of what your account is going to go like, are you doing it by region, or are you rushing certain quests? Like, are you saying I need to, with your whole like quest-based progression, are you trying to rush things like Garden of Tranquility to get farming unlocked quicker, or are you just like taking it one at a time by region?
See, I don't have it right now. I'm just doing the free-to-play quests. So it's nice and simple. Yeah, but I want to say I want to make them into YouTube videos eventually, but I never know how much time I'm going to have. So there's a content creator, Jimmy. Do you watch his series by release?
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't really been kept up with it, but I just started watching it today, and I was like, oh, we're not doing the same thing, but it's like we kind of have a similar goal where he's just going through the quests, doing them as they were released in RuneScape. So he's doing like the last quest he'll do will be Song of the Elves.
Yeah.
I was thinking the way I wanted to do it, but I don't think it's going to work out this way, because the reason I was doing it was for the lore segment we do on the show. I was thinking it'd be cool to do quests kind of how the story goes. It's not going to happen that way, but it'd be cool if you're going to start the Elven quest line, you do every Elven quest in that sitting, not sitting, but
yeah. And that like you have how content creators now are just doing seasons. That's a big thing now.
Yeah.
So you can have like the elf season, the Mauritania season, the desert season.
That might be what I'm gonna do, because I thought it would be cool to kind of do seasons. Plus, it gives me a chance to record everything and then see how I want to edit it itself. So, for instance, spoiler alert, but the first season it's gonna be up to Dragon Slayer 1, or it's gonna be. The season finale should be Dragon Slayer 1, or maybe it'll be me getting killed and losing my Hardcore Iron Man status. But And then I think from there, then I'll make my account members. And then I think I'll just choose a quest and be like, that's what season 2 will be. And then I'm working up to it. So maybe Monkey Madness or
if you're doing like the beginner areas, I mean, Varrock would be the best, in my opinion, at least. Like you could do, you need to do Creature Frankenstein to do Garden of Tranquility, but you could do like What Lies Below, Soul's Bane, Gertrude's Cat, and stuff, and that's Varrock. And then you can go over to Falador, and once you start recruitment drive, that gets you right into the Sea Slug quest line, and boom, you're right into it.
So we're going to need to talk a little bit more about this because I forgot you're a lore junkie. So
can I be your production manager?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
You know, like how K-pop singers have like really, really like authoritarian figures over them, like their record label.
Yeah, I heard there's a podcast, Radiolab did it, called K Paparazzi or something. I can't remember, but they talked about the whole thing. But it's insane. I had no idea. But
I'm not much into K-pop, but let me be that guy for you.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds good. That sounds sweet. So we will definitely have to do it. But as for my main, nothing too interesting, AFKing stuff. But really, the interesting stuff is something we should talk about. I guess right now. Let's hop right into the news. There's a lot to cover. You joined us on such a great episode, content heavy episode. You know, I haven't read the news in so long, but we'll give it a shot. And if it doesn't work out, well, we know what we need to change for next episode. But let's start it off with the RuneFest details that we got. So we got a dev blog that came out today, and then we got a dev blog that came out
like last week.
Yeah, like 10 days ago. But we'll just combine them together because we're not going to jump around. But
yeah.
So the RuneFest theme was revealed, and the theme for this year is going to be Fossil Island. Last year, I believe it was the Fremennik. So like Vikings and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, this year it's Fossil Island. So that should be interesting. I wonder if they do that with in mind of what they're going to be pitching at RuneFest.
Are you sure last year was Fremennik, or was it the year before? Was Dragon Slayer Fremennik? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There are a lot of low-hanging fruit jokes about Fossil Island and RuneScape 3 being dead, so they're going to announce something there. But I'm not going to go into that.
But does RuneScape 3 have its own Fossil Island, or is this like a purely old school RuneScape theme?
You know what's crazy is I just went to the RuneScape website like a couple weeks ago, and they have this new thing coming out where they're bringing dinosaurs into the game.
Yeah, that's right. It honestly though, I was reading up on it and it looked pretty sick.
Yeah.
I'm sure what I'm picturing is a lot different than what actually got brought into the game, but you know, it seems cool.
It's just one island, and on it, it's just squeals of fortunes just constantly running around.
You kill the monsters for your for more chance to roll on it. Sucks for the Iron Men because they don't get it. Yeah, it says here there'll be meetups with the JMods that you can have, loads of panels. So they'll probably have like streamer and YouTube panels where you can talk and ask questions. They'll have a LAN area, which I mean, it makes I should expect that, but it seems kind of weird to go to an event and then you're like, I'm gonna play RuneScape.
Yeah, I mean, I know they keep doing it. They had like a couple of RuneFest specific like gameplay things there where, if you remember, like they asked Wooks to come in. Did he do the blindfolded Jad thing, or did he do the 6 Jad or the 9 Jad thing? I think he did the 6 Jads.
Okay.
In RuneFest, where they just like all went. It was really voyeuristic, and they just all like crowded around Wooks and just watched him be Wooks. It was kind of like
just admired from a little bit of a distance.
This is not what you pay thousands of dollars in flight tickets and like RuneFest tickets and accommodation for.
Yeah.
But, okay.
You know, I say it's weird to have a LAN area, but at the same time, let's say you, I, myself, and a couple of other people from the Discord and clan chat, let's say we all meet up at RuneFest. It would be kind of cool to sit down and do a raid together or something.
That would be cool. It would be nice if they had that. Honestly, my like suggestion to them, which they probably never take, is have it so that whatever they announce, I know it goes against the whole polling system if they just spend a lot of time developing before they poll it. But if they have like a very bare bones version of what they had on offer, so I know warding wouldn't have been the best example, but they announced the Kebos update last RuneFest. If they had like a very minimal, like developed version of the farming guild or something, and then you had all the streamers go into the LAN area and play that build of the game with the farming guild and have them like try fighting the Hespori. They didn't even need to like develop the Hydra or anything. No big updates or reveals. Like they didn't have to do anything with Song of the Elves. But if they just had like, here's Hespori and here's like the art style, and you can explore the region without any of the monsters, and then the streamers would go and tell their subscribers and everything like, hey, this is what we did in RuneFest. Like we played LAN together. It turns out Wook smells worse in real life. I'm sure he's not one of those, but
I could see him smelling like loads of Axe.
Really, because he looks like he smells like lavender to me.
Ooh,
I don't know why. That sounds really weird.
But that's a good point, though. It would be cool. Like you could even instead of having the Hespori designed, you could just have like an Ent, pull that model, throw it so it doesn't move in the patch, and then give it like 5 times as much health. And you're like, okay, we don't know what the mechanics are going to be yet, but just know that we would like to have a boss that you grow, and it's going to be kind of tree looking.
Yeah,
but it's hard because at the same time, I could see someone going in and being like, "This is really what you're going to pitch? I don't like this at all." I'm like, well, no, they're gonna tweak it, but
yeah. Given the theme of Fossil Island and stuff, I would not be surprised if they announced like a big, not a rework, but like an expansion on Fossil Island, refossilized.
Do you remember when they brought it out that they wanted to have it when you collect all the fossils, it unlocks a demi-boss?
Yeah.
So maybe something like that.
I know that like it's kind of like the same path they took with Zaya, where they announced it. It was really big. Zaya was way bigger than Fossil Island when they brought it up. But they brought it out. It was really bare bones. People did not enjoy it at all. And then you've seen like not just the quality of life stuff they've changed, but they've constantly added. They talked about the whole like 4-phase expansion of Zaya and stuff. But on top of that, not only have they like added things like raids to Zaya and stuff. At first, it seemed shoehorned, which is what I think that's the parallel with Fossil Island. Like you could tell people were like, "Oh, raids is in Zaya. Of course it is. It's the new continent. They want something in there. Blah blah blah." But it felt like they needed something to market around Zaya, and for a long time that was raids and blood rune crafting. And I thought the same thing with Fossil Island, where Dragon Slayer 2 was so dependent on that area, and it felt like a big parallel between the two pieces of land that they came out with, Fossil Island and Zaya, and that they tried to first shoehorn updates in before they started working on it organically. And since then, you've got things like Forthos Dungeon and stuff. So I think that's what they're going to do with Fossil Island, where they put one big update in to just get people in, and then they slowly start building around it and expanding as they go.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. Like, a lot of people probably don't remember the outrage that people had with Zaya, where they're like, it's so big and it looks so ugly and there's nothing to do there. Whereas now it's been like 5 years or so, but there's a lot to do. It's huge. Like I completely forget what it was like when it first came out.
Yeah.
So Fossil Island might be the same thing. But okay, cool. Interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of announcement about Fossil Island, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. It could be RuneScape 3 related even.
As it comes closer, I'm sure people will have like their own predictions on what's going to come out and stuff. People are going to think Raids 3. People are going to assume certain things, but who knows? Yeah. Maybe they come out with a new skill announcement, Warding 2.
Another one, yeah. They're just really trying. But yeah, on top of that announcement, we got the Golden Gnome finalists. So some odd weeks ago, they had a survey where you can nominate your own nominees, I guess, for different categories. And now they've released the people that got voted on. And actually, I think you can actually vote on them here. I don't know if the votes are what's going to be who wins, or if it's just going to help Jagex know how the community feels. Because last time they did it, Jagex was like, we're going to decide who wins. You don't need to vote on it. You just nominate who you think.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the categories. So the best new RuneScape video maker. So this is RuneScape 3, Dark World Order, Alium, Silenced, RS Galaxy Shark. Any of those ring a bell?
Nope. Let's move on.
All right. I might have to go check them out because, yeah.
I know somebody who has a similar name to Eliam. I don't know if it's the same person, though.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, best new old school RuneScape video maker, Jimmy, Lil Smokey, Only Trials, and Tedious.
Do you want to go over them one by one?
Sure. Like the ones I've only heard of is Jimmy and Lil Smokey, and I only know Lil Smokey from that one video he made that went, I guess you call it old school RuneScape viral.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the same place I'm at, but I haven't checked Only Trials or Tedious at all, so I've never heard of them. But
I'm gonna make a note because I'm gonna have plenty of time next week.
In my opinion, if Lil Smokey, I mean, it feels like they're kind of riding the wave. It's kind of like, when Designer came out with Panda, or when you get like those one-hit wonders. I could be doing him a big disservice. That's the only thing of his that I recognize.
I don't even know. That's a rapper, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, it was like big a few years ago. But what I'm saying is like Lil Smokey came out with the Swamp Blood Exposed thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we can address that later on in another category, but to me, it seems like Jimmy, in terms of his body of work and his like attention to detail in his quest series and stuff, he pips it for me. Just because like you can't make one viral video and be called the best new video maker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, but he might have series that I've completely missed. Jimmy seems to me more so. So it gets kind of weird, I guess. Jimmy to me seems more like a YouTuber, where I know he. I might not watch his content that much, but I know he does a bunch of different series and different videos, and yeah. Whereas Lil Smokey, I only know of the few that get huge on Reddit.
Oh, so he's had like multiple?
Lil Smokey, I'm pulling it up here. He has 6 videos. He did the old school RuneScape Pokemon battle. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh yeah.
So that was a pretty cool video. Oh, he also, man, this guy's talented now that I have seen a bunch of these videos. Did you see the 300, like the Spartans?
He did that as well?
He did that one as well. So,
wow. Oh, and he did the Smash Bros one. Okay, this changes things a lot.
So he's done a bunch. I think the problem is when his videos blow up on Reddit, it's not through his YouTube channel. He just uploads the video itself. Yeah.
No, that's that changes things a lot. Like in terms of like tipping the balance.
Yeah, I mean, here's the tricky thing. So it sucks that we're just brushing over Only Trials and Tedious. I'm going to go revisit them. Maybe next week we can sit down and talk about it once I've actually given the other two a watch.
Yeah.
But just surface level judgments. So this is where it gets confusing because what does best new old school RuneScape video maker mean to you?
Honestly, to me, that category comes down to somebody who spent the year putting themselves on the map. And now that like we went back and looked at what Lil Smokey's come out with, I think he has a solid shot at it as well. I kind of take back what I said.
But I think the thing as well is he only started a month ago. That's when this first video came out.
Yeah.
So also, he's very new.
I think they might have. Is this the same person? Because I think they might have misspelled Only Trials. I think it's Only Trails. It's some like clue scroll Only Iron Man, I think. Because I can't see anything else. But like between Jimmy and we can like do Only Trials and Tedious later. Or Only Trails, I guess, and Tedious. But between Jimmy and Smokey, it kind of comes down to honestly like a bigger body of work versus a higher standard almost. Jimmy's content is excellent. And like if you've never gone into it, I highly recommend doing so. He like records his own like music and stuff to go with each episode.
Yeah, so, he's pretty. I've seen some of his videos too, where he's got like he has videos that kind of remind you of the old days of RuneScape video making, where it was just they're like skits, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So he's got a few of those, and he's a pretty good like voice when it comes to voice acting. He's really good at it. and he's funny and stuff. Now, here's the thing that gets tricky though. When you look at him though, he's got videos from 4 years ago. That's when he started making videos, and he has old school RuneScape videos starting from 4 years ago. About 3 to 4 years ago when he started making old school RuneScape videos.
It's one of those things where making videos and making content in general, regardless of what platform you use, being a streamer, making music, etc., just being like a content creator for any kind of medium, you have to, like, people don't realize that you spend a lot of years or a lot of time in obscurity, and then all it takes is like one viral hit, whether it's like a song or a video or whatever, and then you're put on the radar. And so it's almost like you kind of have to figure out, yes, he's been doing it a long time, but really he only started generally like being put on the map. I know he's friends with Settled and stuff, so I'm sure a part of that was, reciprocated, reflected glory or whatever. But he is good enough to stand out on his own. And I think like the fact that he spent the last year setting himself apart from Settled is pretty big, because Settled has spent the last year basically overshadowing everyone. So
yeah, he really blew. He upped the standards. He really did. But the only thing that I think is it gets tricky is because you got someone like Lil Smokey who just started a month ago. You have only Trails. God, Jagex, get the name right at least. That sucks. But anyways, he started 9 months ago. He does his Clue Scroll only Iron Man. I haven't seen this series, but I'm gonna go sit down and watch it. But he started 9 months ago. He's got 12,000 subscribers. Lil Smokey about the same. Jimmy has 85,000, and let's see what Tedious is at.
Yeah,
Tedious.
His big thing started 3 months ago. He's been doing like a bunch of videos since then, but
23,000, and he started he made one video a year ago, but then after that it was 7 months. So this is where I think it gets a little bit iffy, because winning the Golden Gnome, it's really jumpstarts your RuneScape content creating career, I guess. So with Jimmy, where he's been making videos for 4 years and he has a way bigger following, if it's only on how, like, if we get to vote on it and we decide who the winner is, it does seem like Jimmy is going to get the vote from most people. I'm pretty sure when I voted on Jimmy because I wasn't really familiar with the other ones.
Yeah.
So to me, out of the four of them, he would be my favorite, but I'm also not taking the time to do my research. It's weird. This category seems a bit odd. The only reason I'm talking about it so much because it's weird that you have. I feel like once you get nominated for the new Old School RuneScape Video Maker, you're not going to get nominated twice. And so for a lot of these people, it seems more unfair to be against someone who has larger subscribers, but has also been doing it for years on top of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on though, because there's got more categories. Best RuneScape Video Maker. So there's Makeroo, Protox Gaming, RS Will Miss It, and Tonix RS. Anyone you recognize?
None of them stand out. I think Makeroo, just because they were part of last RuneFest, but
maybe that. Yeah, I recognize that name, but I couldn't tell you who he was. And then best old school RuneScape Video Maker. You have Rendy, Settled, Lynx Ocarina, and Rarg, and then Evescape or Evescape.
Yeah.
So I like Rendy and Settled stand out to me from old school RuneScape content. Evescape, I know he does speedrun content, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and he also does guides and stuff. He used to be big into guides, and since then he's just been doing like random videos.
Lynx and Ocarina, I'm not as familiar with, but I'm gonna go look them up now.
Are they the two people who like? Yeah, it's basically like they have a thing where they set up challenges against each other and they just fight each other afterwards.
Oh, so they were kind of similar. There was another YouTube channel that did something similar, but it was more like who got the most of what. Whereas these two, I guess, they fight each other at the end.
Yeah, they have a bunch.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. I'm gonna have to look at it. I really like Rendy's videos; they're unique. But then it's hard because Settled he's really good at storytelling.
I think this is settled to lose, in my opinion. And here's the thing that you mentioned, and like we brushed over it a second ago, and I like put it in the back of my head. And I think the thing that sets him apart is what you said, where he set the tone for the new quality. Like he set a new standard when it comes to quality.
It used to be everyone was doing what a friend was doing, which was like no edits or anything. And I used to talk to Deegan about that, being like, that's so weird that, in this one game that's so popular and all these content creators, yet there's very minimal editing. Or if there is editing, they also have a shitty mic. So it's like, it's a weird dynamic, but
yeah, I think this is easily going to go to settled. Like there is no way he's it's settled to lose. Like he basically took over the whole content creation for old school RuneScape. He made that into his own genre pretty much. This is settled world really and we're all living in it.
Yeah, pretty much. He kickstarted the whole, so and so only Iron Man. You got Karamja, you got Zaya, and then Rendy kind of memeing on it, but also putting his own little spin with his potato only Iron Man.
Yeah.
Funny stuff.
Yeah, Settled inspired like so many memes. So much of the community follows like his whole concept now, and so much of the community like uses his practices in terms of making videos. But yeah, you have so many of those like meet Shitletics, my blast furnace locked rank 2 smithing Iron Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, dead horses aside.
But it's rough because like someone like Rendy, where he has such a cool and unique video, it's something that I've never even seen when it comes to like other old school RuneScape videos. It's like almost like, hey man, it sucks that this is the year where your videos really blew up because it's competition's hot this year. Which
brings us, we can put a pin in that. We can discuss it for the next couple categories.
Yeah, let's do it. So RuneScape video of the year. You have RuneScape Historical Timeline, 1998 to 2018 by RS Will Miss It. Next, A Lot Has Changed, RuneScape 3 Series, Episode 1 by Dark World Order. RuneScape Telos Anime Opening by Carol Chan. And lastly, When RuneScape Players Go Farming IRL by Real Scapers. Again, I'm gonna have to watch these videos. Yeah. I'm interested. Yeah, I want to see what the best video of the year from RuneScape 3 could be. Yeah, maybe it would be good. I don't know. When it comes to RuneScape 3, I kind of just hide in the corner.
I just realized something. Like, remind me after this next category. Obviously, like we won't be able to give RuneScape video of the year like the creators the respect they deserve because we haven't watched it. But like, stick another pin in that. Stick another pin in that for a second, and if we move on, if you'll let me backtrack, I just noticed something.
Make a note. All right, and then the last category when it comes to video making, that's the old school RuneScape video of the year. You have $1,000 Old School RuneScape Battle Royale by EVscape. You have I Locked My Ultimate Iron Man Account in Mauritania by Settled. You have the 18 Combat Fire Cape Journey by Rendy. And lastly, you have Swampaletics Exposed by Lil Smokey. All familiar names, obviously.
Yep.
That's funny, actually. They're all the same ones who got nominated, wasn't it? Yeah.
And that's actually what I was going to say. Like, so, you just mentioned it, but have you noticed that each of the RS3 categories, all 4 nominations, except for RS Will Miss It, are different. Oh, and Dark World Order, I guess. So, but you have like Carol Chan and Real Scapers and a couple, like you have a lot of variety. And that jumped out at me because
that's true.
Of the year are all people who are nominated for multiple categories. And that makes me wonder, like, does the RS3 community have like a more diverse set of content creators?
So I would almost say you might be right. I feel like when it comes to old school RuneScape, people, they kind of, I guess, bandwagon a bit on the top content creator, and they're good. Don't get me wrong. I watch them and I really do enjoy them, but it becomes a thing where if there's 8 categories, the same 4 people will be in all of them, right?
Yeah.
Well, exaggerated a bit, but my point I was trying to get at is like, I always try to find a way where I can slip in podcasting categories. I can, but here's something that I always thought was weird, especially starting the podcast, was RuneScape 3 still right now has 2 podcasts going on. I think they have more, but when it comes to iTunes and all the podcasting apps, they have 2 of them, and they've been going on for like years, and they're really good quality. The production value is pretty damn good,
and they're not recognized.
They're not really recognized that much, but they have the 2 of them. Whereas Oldschool RuneScape, the reason I wanted to start one was because there was no podcast for Oldschool RuneScape, which is weird because it's a way bigger community.
And that's the thing is RS3, the player base is so much smaller. So how come they have so much more in terms of diversity for their content creators? Like, it's just weird that they can have more people making videos if there's less of them. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because like the OSRS player base is more casual, maybe. So the content creators are just like you said, we gravitate towards the same bunch. Do we have like the AT&T and the Rogers and stuff of content creators here, whereas it's decentralized? Is this going to be an economic talk all of a sudden?
Yeah, I mean, makes a good point, but at the same time, it could be also that since the community is smaller for RuneScape 3, they're much more like the smaller channels are recognized, whereas Oldschool RuneScape, there's 25 buttholes. I'm sure you've seen his videos.
No, but it sounds familiar.
Okay, well, he started doing these like little edit videos where they're kind of memey, but he was really good at editing. And he's had a bunch of videos kind of blow up, and there's some of his videos that I think are hilarious, but he's not doing these like crazy series. He's not doing like, I'm going to take this really serious. It's always him just dicking around. But point is, he's really good at his editing. I would say Lil Smokey reminds me very much of 25 Buttholes, but Lil Smokey maybe better on the editing, but he's newer. And my point is, I've never seen 25 Buttholes ever nominated. And there's other.
I mean, with a name like that, come on.
Yeah, that doesn't help as well. But you have there's tons of YouTube creators that.
Yeah, where's the Noob Show Lifetime Award? Have they given one out yet?
I don't think so.
When I was a kid, that guy was the big thing.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched it, but maybe I have. I don't know. But I've heard people. He's big enough that I've heard of him before.
No, yeah, you probably have watched it. But anyway, back to like video of the year. This goes back to something Deegan said last week, which was that Settled probably shouldn't win the video of the year just because his body of work is so enormous and his videos are so level in terms of their quality. Like, you can't just give it to episode 1, because to give it to episode 1 without the context of what followed, episode 1 in a vacuum, to me, there's like a really easy way, in my opinion at least, and people can disagree, you can disagree, but there's a really easy reason to eliminate Settled, which is to say, if these videos were all released in a vacuum and the content creators responsible for them did not release anything else either before or after ever, would they win video of the year still?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. That's the thing. I guess these they get like almost like a cult following.
Exactly. And I think that eliminates Settled from the running, because the thing with him is, if you don't have the context of his grinds and like the production quality and how his series like progresses, one video, like there are so many good episode 1s out there that people don't follow through on, and on its own, I don't think it merits beating out these other ones. The big question to me is between Rendy and Lil Smokey. Like, Swampletics Exposed was the best production quality I've ever seen in any kind of OSRS video ever.
Yeah. I completely agree with you there. But I will say with Rendy, his was one of the most interesting videos I've ever seen for when it comes to Oldschool RuneScape.
And I'm not normally, I don't normally like watch those Game of Key like low combat series, like the lower the better. I've only ever really sunk my teeth into the Fire Cape journey. But that being said, the knowledge he had, the way he laid everything out, it's a different kind of high effort than Lil Smokey. Lil Smokey could tell put a lot of effort into the Swampletics Exposed thing. That takes nothing away from the fact that Rendy put in a comparable amount of effort in a different way, just by his game knowledge and his preparation and stuff.
It's almost like if we were to like real life stuff, Lil Smokey had the book smarts, whereas Randy had the street smarts. I say that he knows his production stuff, and you could learn that, taking some courses and just practicing and stuff. Whereas Randy's knowledge, I don't even know where you would go to learn that, because he knows how to glitch the game out in 10 different ways.
Yeah. It's like the whole talent versus hard work thing. You have the prodigy versus the hardworking machine.
Mm-hmm. So both of them are very creative. It's gonna be a tough one, I think, and I think it sucks that only one of them can win in a bunch of these categories.
But one of them can win only. So who is your pick? That is the question.
See, that's the tough one. I voted and I don't remember who I voted for.
Oh, that sucks.
Whoever wins, I'll just say I voted for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on to the streaming awards. Best new RuneScape streamer: Dylan Lagoon, Fox Tickles, Load Fix, and RS Nate.
No fucking idea who any of those are. Okay.
Same. I'd say I'd go check them out, but the only times I check out RuneScape 3 content is when like a big new boss comes out and I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But best new old school RuneScape streamer, we have Aiza, ex-mod Aiza.
Yeah.
It's Will RS, Roy D, and Exactors. Exactors? Exact RS, right, of course. So Aiza obviously was ex-mod Aiza. It's Will RS, I'm not too familiar with.
Yeah, the two that stand out, obviously Aiza for me and Exact. Exact is my pick. Why the hell can it, like, how can a former JMod win best new OSRS streamer? Like,
I know. Where's mod Matt or ex-mod Matt K? Was Kemplos?
Yeah, exactly. Where's Matt K? Because his content is way better than Aiza. I enjoy watching him more.
Yeah, I like watching him too. He's got a much more. I love I don't know if you've seen the videos of people editing his stream, his webcam, onto like really good PvPers.
That is pretty good. Wait, have you seen the one where it's like him doing that accuracy clicking thing? Like, I think it was just posted on Reddit where someone did that with like the accuracy click thing.
I think, okay, is he PKing?
No, it's like this program that measures your accuracy in clicks.
Okay. I haven't seen that video, but I've seen ones where it's him PKing. Well, he's not actually PKing, but he's like doing something else, and the dude's just like clicking nonstop, and Mod Matt K is just, or ex Mod Matt K, he's sitting there just like reading chat, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Just gonna let me just get the kill here and done." And it shows the guy like spec him out.
Do you like that?
Yeah, let me find that. Someone actually put it in the videos Discord channel. So yeah, we will see about the new OSRS streamer. I'll have to go back and check the other two out. Maybe we'll do more of analysis next week, depending on how the news looks.
Yeah.
So best RuneScape streamer, I trolled you, the RS guy, Wazy or Wazy, and Makeru. Makeru is the only one I recognize because he must have been nominated before or something.
I recognize the RS guy as well, but that's from another nomination, like last year or something.
Yeah. And then there's best old school RuneScape streamer. You have Spark Mac, Mr. Mammal, Foe, and Sick Nerd. See, I don't understand how they decide who gets nominated, who's like who's able to win, because there's so many big old school RuneScape streamers. Like Bodhi, I am almost certain is the biggest streamer, right?
Old school wise, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, biggest old school streamer. But he's not on here, so
it kind of marks a changing of the guard almost, because those guys that we associate with, Bodhi, Wooks, etc., they're probably, I mean, they're still in the game and everything, but it's not so much they had a down year, they just did not do enough to kind of solidify their position at the top compared to other content creators that came out. And I'm wondering now if we're moving away from streamers and into high quality YouTube videos again. These things are really cyclical. I mean, back then it was YouTube videos and then streaming became big. And now it's like we're moving back into videos. For me,
it's
Foe is the only person there who like really stands out. Sick Nerd, obviously, also really, really good. I personally just enjoy Foe a lot more because he's way more positive. I mean, Sick Nerd is a nice guy and everything. Like, I'm not saying this is a knock against Sick Nerd. I just happen to enjoy Foe on a personal level more.
No, I can see what you mean. Whereas I'm not taking anything away from all these streamers. Well, part of it. So the reason I think that they don't have like Bodhi in this and some of the other big names, I think they're kind of like, all right, obviously they're like top streamers. There's no point in them winning every single year. Let's just take them out of the running, or maybe they've won before and now let's bring up someone else. Anyways, I agree with you. I do enjoy Foe out of the most out of them, but for me, it seems like the rest of them are a little bit more turned on. And I'm sure they're all kind of like, sorry, hold on. Let me rephrase that. It just seems like they're like watching porn or something on the other. No. What I mean is, with Foe, he seems, if I'm watching it, he just seems like he's just a dude gaming, hanging out. He's just being himself. Whereas the other three are they're more aware that they're entertaining people. So they have,
that's a good way to put it.
They have their entertainment personality turned on.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're more for show almost.
Yeah, I'm sure that's who they are as well. I'm not saying they're not being it on a base level. Foe just comes off as more authentic to me.
That's totally fair as well. Yeah, to me,
but they're all good. I used to really like watching Mr. Mammal and stuff, and
yeah, I would pick Foe. In my opinion, but again, that's my opinion, and you might agree with me, you might disagree, but
if I could understand why any one of these would win, like I wouldn't argue it.
Yeah, that's fair. Did they have an art award category last year?
Yeah, they did. Because I remember they had somebody so the RuneScape 3 again. What you were saying about earlier, how RuneScape 3 almost has more. What's the word?
Diversity.
Well, diversity, I would say. So when they had artistic creation last year, and it was over the RuneScape 3 stuff.
Yeah.
So artistic creation, we had Zahar, who who drew something really well. He made his own picture, that art. But then RuneScape 3, their creators were like making a pop-up book.
Yeah.
And another person made like a sculpture. Like they weren't just doing some sort of painting or something. They were being a little bit more different. So I don't know. Anyways, best new RuneScape artist, you have Brassica Prime, Willowway, Grommy Art, and Enkoro.
Silence. The only one I recognize is Grommy Art because he worked on the Matt K one.
Oh, cool. Right on. So when you're voting, they'll show you the actual photos that are getting nominated.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I can vote twice? That doesn't seem right. Okay, let me give me 1 second here. Okay, let's start off with first in the survey. They make us do old school RuneScape first. So let's bring that up because once I go back, it'll be too far. Best new old school RuneScape artist, Anki, I think is how you pronounce it. I'll just say in order. You have Seventh Sleeper. He does a SpongeBob comic, but with the RuneScape theme.
Yeah. His big thing is he does a lot of those like childhood shows. He has one for like Mandy, Billy, whatever that show's called. I can't remember. He has one for like Courage the Cowardly Dog. He has like so many of those.
Oh, okay.
They're really cool. He's
nice. So opinion. I chose it because I thought it was funny. It was about it was SpongeBob
and Patrick getting lured.
Yeah, getting lured. So they're in the wilderness. You see these fishing lines hanging down. Patrick says, they told me all I had to do was grab the cash and I could have it. And then SpongeBob says, but Patrick, Mr. Krabs said, stay away from lures. Next frame, Patrick's grabbing onto one of the lures and he says to SpongeBob, see, SpongeBob, everything's perfectly safe. The next frame, it shows Patrick getting pulled out from the lure. And then in the last frame, it shows Patrick naked in Lumbridge and he looks kind of peeved. And then it has SpongeBob private messaging him saying, did you get the money? That's funny. Go and watch it because I fucking butchered that. But anyway, it's not meant for audio content.
Yeah.
Next, you have Lazy Slav, who has a cool cartoonish drawing of two PKers fighting, or a PKer fighting a PVMer. And then you have a Eunuch, which has a more anime style of a old school RuneScape scenario. It's pretty cool, actually. And then lastly, you have Varrit 2. And his seems like a more of realistic, I guess. It's like 3 pictures side by side. One's of a dude standing in front of what's his name? Zek? Is that the Inferno boss? What's his name? Zuck, okay. And you have someone standing in front of Zulrah, and then you have someone standing in front of Lady Verzik from Theater of Blood. Very cool. Very talented there. They're all talented. I'm just saying his art style is a lot more unique to me. So next we have Best Artistic Creation. The first one is Thank You for Your Service, Mod Matt K. If you frequent the subreddit, you would have seen this one. It's when Mod Matt K quit, and Zahar, Grommy Art, and Seventh Sleeper all collabed together to do, basically it looks like Mod Matt K walking with 4 RuneScape children, and then the next picture below it shows the 4 RuneScape children grown up with Mod Matt K walking, like almost being helped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In my opinion, this was the winner for me because it had such an emotional response out of me. I don't know.
Yeah, nah, that's the thing. It's that's what won it for me too, because it was more than just a picture, which is like, oh, that's so cheap.
It sounds cheesy as hell, but I still I didn't feel that kind of reaction. And it wasn't like it was a sob story or anything, but I mean, art speaks to you, I guess, if you want to be like the whole art snob kind of guy. That's what art snobs say. Art is art if it speaks to you. I guess that's what modern art is.
That's a good point. And this is a picture that I would have this framed in my office, and I would look at it and, get a little tear. They had the same with Mod Aiza with him home teleporting.
Yeah, I saw that one as well.
God, those bastards making me feel things for a goddamn game. Next is Fishing at Barb Village. This one was just, I guess, creative. It's a picture of, you go to Barb Village, you see 300 people all fishing the same spot. This one just had 6 people morphed into one person almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it tries to show a realistic depiction of what it's like by everyone being jumbled up over each other.
So that's Club Peter Fishing at Barb Village.
Honestly, the only reason I didn't vote for this one is because it would have been way funnier if he just had fishing levels typed over someone's name or something.
Oh yeah,
that would have been really funny.
Too true. The next we have is the Corpcula Sculpture by Mage Nixie. This one's cool. It's clearly a RuneScape 3 artistic creation, but this one is it's unique. It's a actual sculpture. It's not a picture, and it's of a dinosaur that I assume might have came with that new update we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So looks awesome. Really cool little figurine. And then the last one is the Grand Exchange Sculpture by Clay Capes. Again, another sculpture where they made the RuneScape 3 Grand Exchange. And it looks really well done. It's kind of interesting that the RuneScape, kind of like what you said before, how with the diversity with old school RuneScape, or with RuneScape 3 creations, the ones that get nominated aren't pictures, they're sculptures.
Maybe it's because our community is based on nostalgia, so we like to stick to traditional things. That's why a lot of our videos are really traditional. Whereas ours 3, obviously, more modern graphics. They kind of they're not so wrapped up in the nostalgic element, so their creations are a little bit more, I don't want to say forward thinking, but they're a little bit more out of the box. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just theory. Best artist in its entirety. First is Plushy Tum, and they made a bunch of little plush dolls. It looks like imps. Yeah. I want to say it's RuneScape 3, but it might be old school RuneScape. There's a lot of imps there that I'm it's that has to be some. All the different magpie, eclectic, dragon is the first one in the picture. The front one, self shout out. But there's the dragon impling in the front, and then all the implings, I think, is what it is. I just wonder if it's
I wonder if this one's coming from RuneScape 3 or Old School RuneScape, because I don't know if RuneScape... I imagine RuneScape 3 would have different imp links than what we have.
We can find out right now.
I guess we have the power of the internet at our disposal.
Plushy Tum is also the winner of the RuneFest Cosplay Award for 2017, the Golden Gnome for Cosplay.
Oh, right on. So it does look like this is a RuneScape 3 creator, just in the fact that I'm seeing the Crystal Impling, which is
the
in
Royal
RuneScape
Impling,
3.
yeah.
They have a few Implings that I don't think exist, or if we do have the Crystal Impling now, I can't remember. That would have just came out.
Yeah.
God, dude, when we think we're getting new shit, half the time it's already in RuneScape 3.
We can
it's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
So next on the list here is Zahar with a bit of a comic of it's two people doing Theater of Blood together. One person ninja loots it. That's a World of Warcraft term. They grab it and they log out. And then it shows at the end that the other person purchases a chair and a rope. So God, that got dark pretty quick. And then you have Dagna, which is the artistic creation of what it would look like if with people using Oddbury and Varrock to get to the Rune Essence mines.
Yeah.
And then lastly, it's God of Onion with his Prif Dina's login screen for Old School RuneScape.
Dagna also released he does a lot, or I don't know if it's a he or a she. They do a lot of high fidelity artwork. They have their own unique style. So I guess it's more of a stylistic thing between them and Zahar, because they both have really, really comprehensive portfolios at this point.
Okay, yeah. But that's it. We brushed over this, or I think we just fully on ignored it because it wasn't in the survey. Weird. Best new RuneScape artist: Brassica Prime, Willow Way, Grommy Art, and Enkoro. Unfortunately, I can't actually even tell you because for some reason it wasn't even in the survey.
Did you vote as just an OSRS player or RS3 player?
Oh, is that?
Yeah, I think it gates you from the other side if you don't vote both.
Oh, I done fucked up. Okay, and then I skipped everything, so... Right. Yeah, anyways, Golden Gnomes, it should be exciting. They're also, as you mentioned, they're doing a cosplay awards on Saturday during their cosplay parade, so a lot of fun action going on there. All right, so now on to the big stuff, and we'll start off with a doozy. The warding poll results. So warding was pulled, and we got the results. There was a massive turnout. There was 125,000 votes. Unfortunately, what it boiled down to was warding only got 66.4% for yes to be brought into the game, whereas 33.6% said no. And as you know, you need to hit 75% for it to be brought into the game. So we were just a little bit under 10% needed. We just needed under 10%, a little under 10% to get the 75 mark, which didn't work. So
sounds like
looks
a tiny amount, but that's a pretty big difference, though.
Yeah, that's like 12,000. I think something like that, right?
Well, it would be if
12,000 votes, I should say.
I think 12,000 votes swayed, so you'd need almost 10% of the people saying no to say yes. Or if you couldn't get them to do that, then you'd need another 40,000 yes votes. Yeah,
okay, that's right. So it is a big number when you really get into it. But yeah, so warding does not look like it's going to be brought into the game. If I'm not mistaken, when we did our little ramble episode, you said you were very much for warding?
Yeah, I think we were both for warding, but in my opinion, it's good for the game if it doesn't come out, because clearly there were some underlying issues. I said that I said warding was good for the game, but with the results in mind, I think warding still is good for the game, but it's good for the game that they are listening to the poll and respecting that, if that makes sense. It's good that it's not coming out, because clearly it divided the community. There were a bunch of underlying issues that needed to be solved with warding that I was willing to overlook that other people weren't, and that's fine. And they're entitled to view warding as a flawed concept because of that and vote no because of it, which they did. So even though I know we're both pro warding here, like the fact that it was so divisive, the only problem I had with the polling system is the number of people who just like spammed votes with their alts, which to me undermines the whole polling system. Because I saw like somebody mention somewhere that they hopped on like 3 other accounts to vote no on their alts. And I know like somebody did 12 or something, and it almost became like a competition to vote no on as many accounts as possible. But when you think about it, because of the 75% requirement on everything, that means that 1 no vote is as strong as 3 yes votes.
Yeah, that's you don't think about that. It's just like when you put in that perspective,
which is fine in terms of like if everybody was playing the game fairly and everybody was voting in terms of like, okay, I get 1 vote, I have 1 say on how this game should be. But when you have somebody who is logging in on even like 3 other accounts on 3 alts just to vote no, what that means is for that 1 person, you now need 12 yes votes to overturn that 1 no vote. Mm-hmm. Which means like if that was the way things were going, you'd need like an 88% pass rate for everything if everybody did that, which is like pretty worrying because people are supposed to honor the integrity of the polling system. And I'm not saying like I have a fix for it. It's a tough problem, but I don't think you should be able to vote on multiple accounts like that, because the entire point of the polling system was to take a feel for the community. And when you're skewing the results in your favor because you like something or dislike something, you're not allowing the polling system to work the way it is or the way it's meant to be.
It does get tricky. And also like I see this a lot with Reddit where people will jump on a bandwagon. Like I'm saying anyone can, because sometimes I fall in this trap too, but you can get swayed very easily. And I saw that a lot with Song of the Elves, where people were like, this is my opinion. And it's like, dude, you probably would not have noticed this unless like you probably didn't even think about it twice until you came to Reddit and saw this one person pointing it out and all these other people joining in.
Yeah.
So, if you have someone with like some sort of influence, like a streamer, YouTuber, maybe podcaster, but they could say like, go out there and vote no, or go out there and vote yes. A lot of people would be like, you know what, I'm taking this guy's opinion. I wasn't gonna vote, but I'll do it just because he wants me to. I know when the partnership poll came out, there's people in the clan chat. They were like, what should I vote? And it's like, well, you should vote honestly how you feel. I can make some arguments on like about my side of things, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people like that, and there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know what to vote, so I'm just gonna skip. That's what I usually do. But
me too. Yeah, I think the skip function is something that more people should consider, honestly, because sometimes like when you don't understand the gravity of a situation, I do this a lot. I skip a lot of questions if I don't have an informed opinion, or if the gameplay doesn't affect me, or if I don't play that part of the game enough to really know what it's like, I'll skip the question.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, for warding, the results page as well, they say, we know you're curious about what the next steps are. We need to establish that exactly ourselves. And they're going to do more digging into whether there's a general appetite for a new skill. This goes back to the general tractor thing that he was mentioning in his post that I remember you guys went over, where he asked the main critical question that they should be polling first before they do anything else is, should we plan on introducing a new skill to OSRS? And if that fails, they might as well give up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give up. Don't even think about it for 2 years, a year or so. But yeah, this is their third skill they proposed. We had artisan and sailing. I think were the 2 ones beforehand.
Yeah.
Which honestly, which clearly didn't make it. Sailing seemed like the one that was the closest. But no, it didn't. And I was reading on the RuneScape subreddit, and that is mainly for RuneScape 3, but I think they do talk about old school RuneScape sometimes as well because, you know, a lot of people play both games too.
Yeah.
And RuneScape 3 players, the ones who are still playing it, they're much more, I guess, adaptable. Like they bring on, they don't have the polling system that we do. So when a new update comes out, some for the better, sometimes for the worse, players just learn to adapt to it.
Yeah.
But I heard them discussing warding not passing, and I read a fair point that I don't know how true it is because I never really played RuneScape 3, but if someone out there is playing RuneScape 3 or has been, you'll probably know whether this is correct or not. But they said the tricky part is with old school RuneScape is that we don't want a skill brought into the game unless it's like fully fleshed out. And when it's fully fleshed out, it's hard to. It's a huge change that a lot of players aren't, like old school RuneScape players aren't okay with change.
Yeah,
like a big change, which is why we have so many tier 75 weapons. Which is why, and we're gonna get into it, but it was Song of the Elves. Why there was a big uproar about kind of in the grand scheme of things, it was one of the more smaller aspects of the quest, and that's what tons of people were just talking about all week. Mm-hmm. We want to, old school RuneScape community, we as the community want to see a skill and we want to see it fully fleshed out, but at the same time that's very overwhelming for the game. Whereas with RuneScape 3, when they bring out new skills, usually they bring out a skill kind of like how Zaya came out in old school RuneScape, where it's just like, here's the skill and it's like, well shit, this is useless, it only goes up to tier 40, there's nothing, this really can't do anything with this. And then over time, they start introducing more to the skill because they can kind of feel out where the skill should be placed. Yeah. And over the course of like a year or two, they can start dropping more and more content to it. So that's what they had argued. Like, this is what happens in RuneScape 3, and that's how it should happen in old school RuneScape. But the community's not, they look at it and like, well, that's a useless skill. Why would we bring in warding if there's only 3 outfits you can create?
Yeah, here's the thing as well, is a lot of it came down to the high-level community not wanting to lose their max capes, not wanting to devalue their total levels, etc., which I thought was pretty disheartening, because Jagex is clearly trying to grow the game, and the high-level community is a big part of this game, and if there's any community out there that they should cater to, it is the high-level community, because that's the reason why we have this game, because the high, like I won't go into it too much, but we have old school RuneScape because the people that are now high level demonstrated that they're committed enough to the old version of the game to basically make this old build feasible all the way back in 2013. That being said, I just wish sometimes they would realize that they're ultimately hurting themselves in the long run, because their whole argument is twofold, where it's we don't want our skills devalued, we don't want our total worlds devalued, our max capes, etc. We're gonna have to do that grind, etc. But the other thing they say is we don't want this turning into RS3. The problem with that is I think they are turning it into RS3 just by trying not to, almost in a weird inverted way. They're actually accomplishing what they're trying to avoid, because when you don't introduce new content in the game, and we brushed over this like in our ramble last week, where RS2 at the time came out with a bunch of skills during the golden age of the game, and the biggest period of growth was marked with the most number of skills that came out.
Yeah, okay.
And if you don't constantly bring in new players, eventually the player base that you have will slowly die out. And when that happens, you don't have enough people to share your accomplishments with. It doesn't stand out as much. You're just going to be walking around like you are in RS3, where it doesn't matter if you have a max cape because everyone else does, kind of thing.
Yeah. Luckily, we're not quite there, as in like there's like maybe 7,000 people with it, but it's so hard because I can see both sides of it, where a new skill with a game could be so like revitalizing for the game, but at the same time, like, do I personally want to train a new skill? I mean, not really. If I got my eyes set on, hopefully one day maxing, a new skill just makes that more hard. for myself to accomplish, but that's like me looking at it selfishly versus not selflessly, I guess.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the fact that there's a new skill, two friends of mine actually just got close to maxing, where they're planning on maxing together. They've put in so much time, they've burnt themselves out maxing. It's a really big grind. So
definitely.
The last thing they wanted to see, obviously, was a new skill. I don't know if they voted. Actually, I know one of them voted no because he didn't like the AFK Bible element of things, which, I mean, credit to him for not just using his maxing as an excuse. But, like, even if it's going to make your maxing grind take longer, ultimately it will make the max cape more valuable because you'll have to sink in more hours to get it, and you'll have to show more effort and commitment to getting it. So ultimately, if you can get past the 99 warding requirement to get the max cape, it'll mean that your max cape is that much more special.
Yeah, and that's fair, and also the fact that it does open the doors for more content down the road as well, where they have more options. And I really like what you said in the Rambles episode about them having to. They should revisit Magic combat before introducing this new skill. Yeah. And I think that would be a great idea because I would love to see more Magic gear, and I don't want to just see. This is what I liked about the warding pole is that some of the gear was cool. Like I liked how one of the armor sets made it so you casted spells one tick faster. That was cool. I mean, I thought that was unique. I don't know what that would do to the game, but I thought it was an interesting perk to bring out, I guess.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where I would have actually enjoyed trying to see. Okay, will this be a massive like power jump? Will this be really bad for the game? I don't know, but hey, let's give it a shot. Worst case scenario in the beta test, it turns out to be overpowered, but that's why we beta test and stuff. And then we can say, oh, this was like the worst thing that ever came out. Oh my goodness. No, but we could just like figure out that, hey, we tried this new thing. We tried changing the attack speed of certain things, and either it worked or it didn't. Now back to the drawing board. But the main thing is now going back to the drawing board. Wait.
Pretty much, but yeah, then they're probably gonna be like, "Well, shit, where do we start again?" So
yeah, exactly.
It's a tricky one. I think we might hear more about it at RuneFest, or at least we should get an idea of what direction they want for the big updates of the year. Because we did lose one. They do 3 big updates every year, and we lost one of them. So it's the first. I think it's the first time one of the RuneFest reveals didn't pass the polls.
And that's fine, and I'm glad they took it so well, where they just thanked everybody for participating, they thanked everybody for making their voice heard. I mean, that's way better than like the way the other poll, the partnerships poll went, but it's also good that they're, willing to, I don't want to say concede defeat, because then it sounds like it's Jagex versus the players, but they're willing to basically respect the poll and realize that they need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and I'm sure if there's anything they would want to add as a non-polled update, warding would be it. So it is awesome that they're like, all right, fuck it, let's. This is how it works. So sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes in Jagged's eyes, like, oh well, we lost a big content this year, so yeah, it happens. But we, about a week ago, we saw the other huge update of the year. I guess our last one until RuneFest, but that was Song of the Elves.
Oh yeah, the big one.
So this was the biggin. This is the finale for the Elven quest line, and I guess I'll give a quick summary for those who haven't done it. But the lore summary here is: our story begins with you, the hero, answering the call to adventure with Edmund, a resident of Ardone, asks for your aid. By rescuing his daughter Elena from Plague City, the quarantined West Ardone, you begin to unravel the mystery surrounding the disease. With her help, you discover the plague is a spoiler hoax, a plotline by King Lathis to section off the West Ardone. By confronting him, you find out this was done to protect the rest of Gielinor from the threat of the Elven lands. The king sends you on a mission to travel through the underground pass, help his ally, Lord Iorwerth, and eruditing eradicating his brother King Tyrus, who threatens to revive their mysterious Dark Lord. After an arduous journey through the past, you meet with Iorwerth and his forces to end Tyrus's evil once and for all. There's tons of spoilers throughout this, so yeah. Upon your return to Lathis, you are intercepted by these names were fucking me up, but anyways, Arian Wynn, perfect. A rebel elf who opposes Lord Iorwerth. He informs you of Lathis's and Iorwerth's deception. They manipulated you into removing their final opposition, and we're now free to bring the Dark Lord back to Gielinor for their own intentions. Holy shit. Your work with the Elven Rebellion to discover the purpose of the plague was to disguise the dig site of the long-lost Temple of Light, an ancient place that is key to bring back the Dark Lord. And finally, you continue the quest. You basically go back to make amends of your past mistakes and put a halt to King Lathis's and Lord Iorwerth's plan and solve the intricate light puzzle designed to protect the death altar within the temple. After sealing off the temple and preventing the return of the Dark Lord, it is now time to turn your attention to King Lathis's and Lord Iorwerth's and end their scheme once and for all in Song of the Elves. That was a mouthful. Yeah.
We need to have like dramatic organs or something playing. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just stumbling through all the words. But this is the quest. You need 70 agility, construction, farming, herblore, hunter, mining, smithing, and woodcutting. It is a Grandmaster quest. All those need to be unboosted or cannot be boosted. And completing the quest unlocks 2 major PVM contents. Well, yeah, PVM contents, I guess. The Gauntlet and Zalcano. But most of all, you unlock Prifdina's, the city, the ancient city of the Elves.
So let's break this down bit by bit. First of all, I know you were doing the quest with me day one.
That's right.
How did you find the quest?
I really enjoyed the quest. I was at work when I did it, and we were doing it with a bunch of people in the clan chat, and throughout the course of 15 hours, some of those people logged off, some new people logged in, they caught up. It's like the group of people changed by the end of the day.
Yeah, it was a dynamic, fluid system.
Yeah. It took me 14 hours, but I had fun the entire time doing it. Me and Weston in the Discord, we spent like 5 hours on the light puzzle ourselves. A guide came out, but we decided like, fuck it, we're having a lot of fun. Let's not use the guide. And there's a few times where I was like, shit, I really want to use a guide. But then I was like, you know what? I'm having a lot of fun right now. And this is way better than fishing, which is what I would have been doing otherwise.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to keep doing it until I'm not having fun. I thought the story was good. It was intense, and I thought it had lots of humorous parts. Yeah, in a nutshell, I thought it was an awesome quest. I would say play it, read all the dialogue, follow along what's going on, and play with music on, because it's fucking good. What are your thoughts?
So I went into it the exact same way you did. I didn't use a guide. I woke up as about the same time I normally do, and then I just went right into it. I had a couple of friends who stayed up all night, so they were doing the light puzzle by the time I hopped on. And at first, I thought the writing was really good in terms of catching people up. But to me, there were a couple of weak points in the story. I don't want to spoil anything, but the first part felt a little bit fetch questy, and then towards the end, it just got so cringy with one character. You know, the guy who's always like on your ass the whole quest, who's like, "Oh, why should we trust this dude? He's not even an elf."
Yeah,
like I don't trust him, and just like it just became really, really tiring. It just seemed like edgy teenager stuff, but
it was a bit of like a shallow character.
Yeah,
where it's like, we can't trust this dude, and then you're like, wait a minute, maybe we can't trust you, and oh my god, look at all these twists thrown at us, but they're not really twists, because I didn't care about that character too much.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you mean.
Other than that, it was a great quest. I liked the light puzzle. They said it was going to be like way, way worse than the Morning's End Part 2. But I think that the puzzle itself was longer, but it was way more enjoyable. I think they did really well to figure out like where the puzzle element, the fun parts of the puzzle should remain, and take out all the fluff. So you don't have fucking asshole like shadows attacking you the whole time like Morning's End Part 2. Stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's it was. I totally agree with you there. I had sound effects on, which the music sounded so good entering the grand library. That's what it was.
Yeah. Aesthetically, the library was really nice.
Yeah, I loved how, because you have to shoot the light beams, and sometimes through multiple levels. I loved how you could see below you where the light was going.
Yeah, that was a big change from Morning's End Part 2 as well. It just felt like they modernized the whole light puzzle element, which is nice, because if it was just Morning's End Part 2 like mechanics again, it would have been really annoying. But
yeah,
I did it without a quest as well, without a guide for pretty much 99% of it. I got stuck on one of the seals, and it turns out I was like doing the wrong seal for some reason. Like, I just skipped a seal, so I didn't have enough crystals, and I was trying to figure out where the hell to get the light going, but
well, like, props to you, because I was doing it with Weston, and there's a bunch of parts where I was like, if I was doing this on my own, I would have quit. I would have probably used the guide, because it is tough. And there's a few times where I was getting frustrated trying to figure things out. You could get lost so easily. There's a few times I had to backtrack just because I was like, shit, I forget where I am in this giant area.
Yeah, and that's part of the fun of doing content day one.
Yeah, it was so much fun to do that. And
that being said, boss fight was not bad. It wasn't as combat heavy as Dragon Slayer 2, which is good. I think Dragon Slayer 2 deservedly should be more combat heavy. It's in the name, Dragon Slayer, but this one, again, a lot more lore based, a lot more like story based, which is fine. And the
I thought it was
big, so.
And just on the topic of the final boss, I thought it was you skip ahead 5 minutes or so if you really want to keep it a secret, but I thought it was super cool, like lore wise, the whole vibe of it. I took a screenshot and I posted on the Twitter, and I was like, oh, this is really fucking cool, where you get teleported to like a
total black screen.
Yeah, total black screen with just your enemy there. And it really, to me, it felt like, so Mod Ed, I think, is the one who was like behind the main story of it. He's the one who wrote most of it. But there's a few times where I really got a Final Fantasy vibe from it. One, like the final fight, to me, it reminded me of Final Fantasy VII. Have you played that game?
No.
Okay, well, at the end, there's this one bad guy you're trying to fight the whole time, and you and your group of people are fighting the boss, and he's like this giant monster. You kill the monster, and then he just turns into his human form, and then basically the main character and the boss get teleported into like a black space, and it's just like a one-on-one fight, and the music's like kind of minimal, and you're just like, oh fuck, this is very eerie, because it's just a one-on-one thing now.
Yeah, that sounds pretty legit.
And that's how I felt with this boss here. It wasn't as hard as Dragon Slayer 2, as you said. It took me two tries, but yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the boss fight. I had a couple of friends who'd like skipped ahead. One of them, like while I was at work, finished the quest and with a guide, and he was like, "Do you want pointers?" I said, "No, don't spoil the fight for me, and just like maybe give me some vague advice." And I mean, I guess skip ahead if you don't want the advice. If you still want it, well, I mean, if you want to do the quest organically, you would have skipped ahead by now. But
yeah,
he was like, use magic and safe the hell up. And I got a little bit cocky, and I tried tick eating the. I died. I didn't tick eat the. Big
he does like he doesn't one hit you, or she doesn't, but she does like.
I think it was 98% of your max HP.
Is it 98%? It brings you down to like 2 health or something.
Yeah.
So if you just bring a bunch of Cerebrews and you always be above your max health, you'll be fine. I thought it was an awesome fight. I thought it was cool lore-wise that I think that's like the only time you ever get any idea you can see some sort of god entity. So I wrote on Twitter asking Mod Ed, like, hey, was this actually Saren, the elven god? And he was like, we never really said whether it was or not. It's kind of for now, like, up to you. What do you think?
Yeah, and I love those. Yeah,
and you're just like, man, okay, cool. Well,
which brings us onto like the new poll, the changes that they're going to poll, which we'll address in a second. But one of them was that I really liked how ambiguous the sides were in terms of like you didn't know if you were the good guy or the bad guy for half the thing.
Yeah,
and you still, like, you walk away and you're like, are we really the good guys? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a few times because you're fighting for a King Backstorian, I suppose, against Lord Ioworth, and yeah, the whole on a base level, it's like, well, we're Backstorian's the good guy, Ioworth's the bad guy, but Ioworth is trying to not summon or revive the god Saren. He's trying to revive Saren again, who was the elven god, and then she basically done fucked up and placed like an evil element of her. She created some evil element of her, and in order for her to get rid of that evil element, she had to kill herself, sort of. There's more to it, and when you read the quest, you'll like figure more out, but that's what she does for the most part, unless getting things mixed up. But Lord Ioworth wants to revive her because all the elves, we want her back. But King Backstorian's like, no, we gotta stop him because she might be dead forever, and you might just only revive the evil part of her. Yeah. But Lord Ioworth brings up like, yo, we had a war like hundreds of years ago, and what happened? His wife died, so King Backstorian or whatever just like sent all of his men into battle, and then he just ran away and hid and let all of his men die. He didn't. So then Lord Ioworth's like, yo, you're even worse than I am because people are dying, but at least I'm doing it for a reason. Your people died all because of your wife. Like they don't give a shit about your wife. They were just doing it because you told them to. Yeah,
I like that whole moral ambiguity part.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole time you're kind of wondering like, what's going on? But yeah, I enjoyed the quest. I would say it definitely up there with me with Dragon Slayer 2. How do you feel with it?
Dragon Slayer 2 for me pips it a little bit. Song of the Elves didn't quite hit the highs of Dragon Slayer 2. Plus Dragon Slayer 2 was just cool as hell. And when like the main music plays in Dragon Slayer 2, it's just the coolest fucking moment in the game. But
yeah, I agree with you. Dragon Slayer 2 is still like the best quest, but this is definitely in the same category as Dragon Slayer 2 in my opinion.
I think it's a fitting way to end the Elf questline because it was a pain in the ass to do, which is famously like what the Elf questline is known for.
Yeah, that's true.
So in the best way possible, it was like a pain in the ass in terms of the light puzzle. You have to, spoiler alert, you have to do a clue scroll in the middle of the thing, which just seems like
like a bunch of little riddles that you were just fucking. I would sit there for like 20 minutes being like, some of the puzzles, tons of them. You had to help me out on one of them because I was like, man, I don't know what the answers are, but I don't want to look up a guide, so I'll just ask you.
That was my most favorite puzzle. The riddles, I really like those riddles that they do.
They were good. They were pretty good. All right, so there was a quest there. It opened up Prifdina's. What did you think of the city? Did it lead up to your expectations?
Yeah.
Live up to expectations.
This was a big thing in the community as well, because Prifdina in RuneScape 3 is like the community divider. It's like you can divide the community into people, the haves and the have-nots, where Prifdina is just like turns everything in RS3 into dead content, apparently, because you have the best training methods for every skill in the game, pretty much, in Prifdina. You have like, this is how broken RS3 is, but apparently you have like teleports to every boss. You have a GE in there.
Yeah,
like
GE was just a huge one.
So
suddenly,
a big part of the problem with Prifdina, and they address this constantly in like Q&As and stuff, how they didn't want to follow the RS3 model, is how like fragmented it made the player base, where if you're a low level player, you go to the GE and you're like, this is dead, because most of the high level community is just like chilling in Prifddinas, stuff like that. I like the layout of the city. I like how many Easter eggs there are. There's still one that I randomly misclicked, and I found like some random read in some pots or something, and I like wikied it.
Oh,
and
what?
Apparently there's like a little Easter egg of Saren's memories or whatever.
I
like the layout. The only problem with me is functionally, I don't like how windy some of the roads are, in the sense that I wish you could run through some of the trees. I think that would be cooler, A, and B, it's so annoying how, if you have a picture of Prifddinas open, like if you come from the south entrance, you'll notice there's like the first dungeon icon to your right, that big clearing of trees. You actually can't like go across from the main road right to the dungeon. You have to like go all the way to the center and then go round back down. It's just really annoying to do that. So that's my only thing. But yeah, I moved my POH to Prifddinas. I know there's an infinite teleport crystal that's going to be really nice. I just got the shards for it earlier today. So I'll be getting like a max teleport crystal. And then that way I can always, like, it'll be really helpful for Prifddinas and for farm runs and stuff.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, they did bring new farm area. So after I beat the quest, it was like late at night, and I was like, I'm going to go and explore a bit. And it brought me back to being a kid, where I wasn't sure what was exactly in the city, and I was just talking to everyone. Every little shop, I wanted to go see what were they selling. And half the times they'd be selling shit. I'd be like, oh, this is cool. They had a little clothing shop that had some like fashionscape gear.
Yeah, the 250 mil one.
Yeah, it had a 250 mil crown, and I was like, oh, wow, what the hell? And then it had 500,000 gold recoloring, which I'm glad I found out it was recoloring for the crown later on, because I probably would have bought it if I had enough money.
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of other clothing, which cost like 10K each, and I bought those, and I was like, hey, these look pretty cool. They look neat.
Did you buy them?
Yeah, I bought those. But yeah, they're like 10K, and they look pretty cool. They're just like clothing, like elven clothing. It's kind of like how
the gnomes
the gnomes or the Fremennik clothing you can get.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the elven version of that, and it looks neat. So that was fun to explore. I liked what else was there? They had little gladiator pens. You could just see these two NPCs fighting each other. Like little arenas, though. That's just cool to kind of sit and watch. You're like, oh. Yeah, that's fun. You start putting bets on different people for that. That'd be cool.
I really like that world building element that they did. And sorry to cut you off again, but like
yeah, go for it.
With Hesidius as well. The big thing with Zaya is how dead it felt. But for this, they've clearly learned like how to make a world feel alive, because you just had a lot of like. You have the crystal windmills, and all the trees look really nice. You have people walking around. The gladiators, like you could tell, like it feels alive a lot more.
Yeah, it was really neat. And I'm trying to think. Now, there's a lot of people I'd bump into and talk to, and like, oh, what do these people do? And and then even stumbling and being like, hey, do you want to move your respawn point to Prifddinas? And I was like, oh shit, I can't remember if they even said that in the dev blogs. I'm sure they did, but I don't remember it. But that's pretty cool. I'll do that just for shits and giggles. And
yeah.
So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. And then of course the big PVM content, the Gauntlet and Zalkino. So have you done either of them?
Yeah, I've done both. I've actually done all three. I don't know if you know the third one. It's pretty big now.
What's the third one?
The rabbit.
Oh, shit. No, tell me about this rabbit.
So we'll get okay. So let's do the rabbit first, because I could tell like I piqued your interest. So in Prifddinas, in one of the dungeons, there is a rabbit that has a shit ton of health and hits like a truck, and it takes like a lot of time to kill it. There's a safe spot you can use, but the cool thing is you can like stand on other people to nullify the safe spot and get them damaged. I guess you could PK other people or something. I didn't do the rabbit too much, but it basically has a ton of health. It takes like 15-20 minutes to kill. When you kill it, it drops the Crystal Grail, which on release was going for 15 mil. at a time.
Yeah, okay, I remember people talking about that.
I had a couple buddies do it, and the first one they sold for like 12 mil, and then they went and got another kill like 15 minutes later. They got another Crystal Grail. They went and sold it. It was like 8 mil, and then the next one was like 4 mil or something, as people realized it was like a common drop or maybe a 100% drop. So that's really cool, and it's a Monty Python reference.
Like, okay.
The Invincible Rabbit that they have. So it's really nice to see. They didn't pull it. People are joking about that unpulled change, but it's nice to see like Easter eggs like that. That's really nice, and that adds a lot more to each update if they do things like that. There's
and I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also like a crystal cat in one of the trees and stuff. Which
really?
I don't know if that's a reference to something. Yeah, but you can see a cat. So the world is really nice. If you have unlocked the city, just go in and explore some stuff. I'm sure there might be a couple of other things that we've missed as a community. Like, and it's really nice to see them pay more attention to that. So that's the rabbit. We also have the gauntlet. Do you want me to read out the gauntlet or just go into it?
Well, let me just go back to the rabbit real quick. So I just looked it up, and this is cool. So yeah, I was as much as I love the polls, sometimes it kind of sucks when you know exactly what's coming in an update. This not even mentioned in the dev blogs. Fucking awesome. A level 2 rabbit with 5,000 HP, the max hit of 48, and it always drops a Crystal Grail, which is the GE is saying 12 mil. I'm not sure how true that is, but it spawns every 6 hours. So you can't even. It's a long time. I like that.
Yeah. So you can world hop around to find an empty world, but on each world it only spawns every 6 hours. Yeah.
Yes, that's crazy. It reminds me a bit of Maple Story. In that game, there's these bosses, they would spawn like every hour. So you would constantly be like, do I sit here and hang out because I don't know, like, or do I hop around and try to find one that's already spawned? But yeah, neat stuff. That's awesome. All right, so what was it? The gauntlet you want to start off with?
Yeah, if you want. So the gauntlet is basically Dungeoneering Light. You go in, no gear, no items. If you like Dungeoneering, you'll enjoy Gauntlet a little bit. Even the interface and stuff, the map is straight out of Dungeoneering. You go in and you have 10 minutes to basically prepare everything: food, armor, weapons, prayer potions, and then at the end of 10 minutes, you have to fight the Crystal Hunlef, which is the new boss. The mechanics are pretty straightforward. It combines a lot of different boss mechanics, which is nice. It attacks with mage and range, and it switches every 4 hits, just like the Hydra, so it's a counting game. It has a special attack that's like Verzik, where it spawns tornadoes. You have to avoid the tornadoes. The ground, it's almost like you're a kid and you're playing the floor is lava, because sometimes the ground lights up. You have to try and dodge it. Have you hopped in the Gauntlet at all?
I haven't completed it yet because I've only tried it a couple times. Well, I shouldn't say couple. I've tried it a bunch of times. I just haven't looked up any guides, and I just wanted to like learn it myself. And it was it's fun. I do like it. To be honest, I thought there'd be a little bit more to it. I thought if the boss was killed, you'd go on to like level 2 of the Gauntlet, but it's just the boss there.
So do you know what the Corrupted Gauntlet is though?
So yeah, I do know what this is, just because this is what all the big PVMers are striving to set records in.
Yeah. So once you get a kill count in the Gauntlet, you unlock the Corrupted Gauntlet, which is a harder version of the Gauntlet. You have less time. You only have 7 minutes 30 seconds to prep, get your armor, get your gear, get your food, everything. And then when you go into the boss, it has like more health. The normal boss has 600 HP. The corrupted version has 1000. It hits harder. And the mechanics are tougher. It spawns like more things that chase you. The parts of the fight arena, I guess, that light up and damage you, like the floor is lava element, happens more frequently. And honestly, it's a lot more RNG based, where if you don't get a good layout in terms of what you find next to you when you first start, it's going to be really hard to recover. And it's doable as well, but you have like less of a margin of error. If you forget to count during the boss fight, etc., like he'll hit you for 50 and all of a sudden like that's it, because you'll be chewing down fish to heal up so much that you'll just lose out on damaging him to the point where he's gonna ultimately like wear down your supplies and stuff. It's really tough. For me, it took a while to get the kill count. Like it took me a bunch of attempts. On like my fourth or fifth try, I killed him the same time I died, and the kill didn't register.
Oh,
pissed me the hell off.
That always sucks.
It is what it is. The big thing with the Gauntlet, though, is the community pretty much has universally decided it's dead content already, unless you're going for the speedrun, which kind of sucks, because it brings us back to that fun element where I personally, this is my favorite part of the Perfidenus content that came out. It's really fast-paced. If you remember back when they were designing the Hydra, they mentioned how the way they're designing bosses now is they have this like checklist of things, how the boss needs to be fast-paced, there should be minimal dead time, and players should not feel like they've been punished if they haven't done anything wrong. The problem with the Hunlift, which we can go on to after the day one report that came out, is it did feel like you were being punished even if you were praying the right prayer, because it just ran through you.
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah, they have some tweaks. They want to make it hit harder when you pray the wrong prayer, but hit less when you're praying the right prayer.
Yeah.
And it's always going to start with ranged attack, whereas right now it's random.
And that was the big thing as well, which was when you go in, it attacks with major range, but you didn't know which one it started with, just like the Hydra. And especially in the Corrupted Gauntlet, like you go in, you're praying range, and it starts with mage, and all of a sudden that's 50 damage done to you already. And you're already like fighting, you're already in an uphill battle, pretty much. So
yeah.
People like have said it's not good money. I don't care about that at all, because, and I've said this to a couple other people, and I managed to sway a couple opinions as well, where people tried it and they said this is shit money. I'm not getting anything. Like you basically have to get the Blade of Saeldor to make money. And I said that's fine. That's how it should be. Like not everything should be Zulrah, Vorkath, Hydra. Like not everything should shit out money. And it's nice to have some content where you get absolutely like jack shit for drops until you get the big unique. Especially what's nice about the Gauntlet is you don't even have to worry about like the big problem with that whole argument is, okay, but I use so much supplies that I'm actually losing money. But for the Gauntlet, when you're running in with no gear on, with no items, you're not losing money ever. So you don't have to worry about like losing profit in terms of like not hitting the unique or going dry and then like losing so much money on supplies.
Yeah, and that's a good point, and I totally agree where, you do Zulrah or Vorkath and it's just spin out good money, but when it does drop one of its big, the uniques, it's exciting, but it's not as exciting as when you're at Bandos and it drops one of the uniques, because you're just not you're like, oh shit, there it is. Whereas Zulrah, you're like, well, I'm not here for the uniques. I'm making so much money anyways. I mean, it'd be nice if it drops, but whatever. I'm going to make a shit ton of profit regardless. So it is cool to have those moments where it's just like, when you do get the unique, you're going to have that like, your heart sinks for a moment. You're like, oh, holy shit. It's like getting a pet almost.
Yeah.
And the Gauntlet, it's like all RNG, which I've seen people complaining about, where it's like sometimes you just get a shitty room where the resources you need are so hard to find. But I find the RNG makes it different enough that it could be fun. You won't get burnt out as fast.
Yeah, and definitely once you learn the fight, you'll be able to clear it with no issues, even if you have a really shitty room. Like you should not be struggling to get through a regular one once you get the fight down, especially if they like implement the changes. This devalues my Corrupted Cape, all that fun meme, but it's fine. Like they needed to change it. It was really unforgiving, and it didn't really reward, or it didn't really like measure your skill as much as it measured your ability to get lucky.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good point.
Moving on though,
they are doing a speed who can do it the fastest.
Oh yeah.
But since they are changing, it's for like a gaming chair and stuff. And right now, Wooks does have the reward, but unfortunately, since they are changing, they're tweaking the Hun lift, like we mentioned, where it's going to be hits less when you're praying the right prayer, hits more when you're not praying the right prayer, and it's always going to be using range first. They're also going to reset the fastest time record. So,
so I'm back within a shot. Okay, because Wooks's record was so difficult for me to like even dare to achieve, but I've been getting better times now.
Okay. Oh yeah, what time? He got like 3 minutes and something, if I'm not mistaken. What are you sitting at?
Right now I'm sitting at like 6 minutes 30 on the regular, and then I haven't tried the corrupted gauntlet after I got the kill count, but I know Wooks has the record for both. So he had 6 minutes 16 in the corrupted, which is ridiculous. That's like, wow. But
yeah,
it's Wooks. So
yeah, I see him. He messaged Mod Curse and I guess RS Merrick. I'm not sure who that is, but messaged them on Twitter because he's kind of upset that they are changing it before the challenge is over. Which is fair. Mod Curse says in response, like, I totally understand. I don't like to change it mid-competition either. It's probably better to wait till afterwards. But for a lot of players, this is a big deal. It might not be a big deal to you, Wooks, because you're a PVM legend. But to others, it's more bigger of a deal. So this is why it looks like they might go ahead and do it. They might not, though. So we'll find out later on this week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then next we have the Zolcano, right?
Yes. And going back to the bosses shouldn't shit out money, this is a boss that shits out money. Because
potentially, yeah.
So the way Zolcano works is it's a skilling boss. You go in, there's no combat technically, although there is a boss whose health you have to whittle down, and your health does get dropped by its attacks. But the way the fight works is you start the fight, it's in the middle of a big chamber, and in the north side there's a furnace, in the south side there's some weird rune crafting altar. Each corner of the chamber has like an ore deposit, and one of the ore deposits will be glowing. That's the one you should mine from, because it mines the ore you need faster. Mm-hmm. Once you get enough ore, you get like 4 or 5 per person. You run to the north, you smelt the ore into like these weird balls, these bombs. You go imbue the bombs in the south altar, and then you throw it at Zolcano, and you just kind of drop its shield, and then once it's stunned, you mine it for a bit until it's about to wake up. It wakes up, it does a shockwave to anybody next to it, so you have to run away, and then you rinse and repeat. You go back to mining and stuff. There's a bunch of other stuff. There's like weird pools of light that spawn. You stand on the blue to damage it. If you stand on the orange, you damage yourself. There's a golem that heals it. Weird shit like that, but generally it's just a matter of running, mining, and then like disabling the shield and mining away at Zolcano until it's dead. The thing with that fight is a lot of people have been realizing that if you get the kill, you will make a lot of money per hour, and people are saying it's like it's 3 to 5 mil per hour, and I'm not sure what the uniques will settle at, but you get a lot of just raw resources, just like Vorkath.
Yeah, and so it does look like it's. I think I was getting like 15k to 20k mining experience an hour. Am I getting that wrong?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's that high, because they said the experience per hour would be pretty bad. I had a friend of a friend get the pet on their first kill. I noticed somebody else in the Discord just got the pet as well.
Yeah. I saw that too.
Which is a big source of controversy as well, because the way it works is if you are the person to damage it the most, if you're quote-unquote the MVP, you're the only person to get the chance at a pet, which is not like something like Winter Tot.
Right. So yeah, that's a big controversy because, like, you know, the what do you call it? The efficient, the EHP community who is like crazy with their 1 ticking or 1.5 ticking. You know, if they're doing that, they'll be getting MVP like majority of the time, right?
Yeah, and I have a friend who actually like figured out that you can 1.5 ticket, and he's been like camping Volcano every chance he gets and making a lot of money. He's gotten like a couple tool drops. The prices of the uniques have been varying wildly. Like nobody knows where they're going to settle. The first one I think sold for 8 mil, and the second one sold for 30 mil.
Damn.
So that's a really big difference in terms of how much money you can make per hour. Nobody knows the drop rates either. So
yeah, that's right.
In terms of just straight up money, if you can consistently get MVP, you're making a lot of money, and you're also getting the chance at a new pet and all the uniques. I'm not sure anyone else rolls the chance at the unique. We still don't know any of this. It's all like, what's the word?
It's all hearsay.
Exactly. It's all hypotheticals and stuff.
And I did see it be addressed on I'm pretty sure I saw it. I can't find the tweet now, but I thought I saw a Jagex mod saying the reason they did this was to prevent the issue of like 100 people just spam farming it, and you know, it just spitting out tons of money while also spitting out tons of pets. So they did it this way to make it's only 1% of the chance. But they mentioned that they're going to be revisiting it, and it's only a temporary thing. So probably much like the Gauntlet and how they're changing the boss a bit, they're probably going to be coming back to change it with a better system.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. What's your personal opinion of it? Do you enjoy doing it? Do you think it's
I think it's a decent fight. I don't enjoy it too much, but objectively speaking, I can see the appeal. In my opinion, the MVP thing should stay the way it is.
Yeah.
Maybe equalize the loot a little bit, so if you get MVP, you don't get as much, and if you don't get MVP, you get a little bit more. But in my opinion, I mean, this is coming from somebody who like values pets in the game and stuff, and like that's my thing. I want more pets, and even that being said, like I don't mind if that pet is really hard to get because you have to go for the MVP basically to get it. The only issue with that though is eventually in the high level community you'll have people who like pay others to help you with the fight but not get MVP so you can get a pet maybe.
Yeah.
There might be issues with that, and in that case, you like they should address that. But
I mean, a good point too you bring up with it being good to have the MVP is that it's not going to be like Winter Todd where there's one world. You'll probably see tons of people in different worlds doing this because they want less people to compete with and they want to be the MVP.
Yeah, maybe if it didn't suck to solo as much, it would be a different story because it's just like any other boss in the game. Where, you know, if you're killing Bandos in a populated world, nobody's saying, hey, I dealt damage to Bandos, I should roll the pet chance.
Right, so, yeah. That's a very fair point, actually, that you make a strong case there.
They clearly wanted it to be a skilling boss, and the way it works, this is me, like, making assumptions on the way the game is reading it, but from what I can tell, the way the fight actually works is if you do damage, if you get the kill count, so you know if you got the MVP because it will always drop ashes for you. You'll get the ashes drop, which is a 100% drop that only the MVP will get. So if you get that, you know that you're the MVP. And I think the way the game works is the person who does the most damage gets the drop, but then the people who contributed, the game spawns more items for them. But it doesn't count as the boss dropping it, even though like it gives you a kill count. It says in the chat, Volcano dropped XYZ for you, like Magpies received the drop. But I think in terms of the way the game reads for the pet chance, it would explain why only the MVP gets the drop for the pet, etc. Because the MVP is the one who's actually rolling on the drop table. Everyone else is just getting like extra items.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, see, that's a strong argument. I don't know how I feel now. You definitely swayed me because my opinion at first was like, oh yeah, okay, maybe that is a bit broken. But now I'm sitting there like, okay, you know what? That's true. It's supposed to be a skilling boss, and that this is it keeping it a boss in its truest form. Maybe find a way. I don't know. Maybe take out the ticking, the 1.5 ticking, or something like that to make it more fair. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's a good compromise. And I was going to suggest maybe like removing the tick manipulating element, equalizing it a little bit so you don't get as much loot if you're the MVP, but you get a little bit more. So it's the same amount of like items spawned in the game in general. Like it doesn't change the money that's being brought into the game. It just doesn't make it as centralized. So it's not just one person making bank anymore. Like it's better to have 10 people making 500k an hour than one person making 5 mil an hour.
Oh yeah. No, that's a fair point. Now, as for the items that are dropping from these two pieces of content, you know, you mentioned the Blade of Seldor, then there's the Crystal Armors and the Crystal Tools. So you need the Crystal, what is it? The Crystal Armor Seed? Is that what it's called? Let me
to make the Crystal Armor, yeah.
Yeah. So that's sitting at 1 mil, and you'll need 6 of them in order to create the full set. So 6 mil about, and the tools about 1 mil as well for the crystals. And the Blade of Seldor is looking like 120 mil right now.
I've heard it's going for 200 mil. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with the GE because they're stuck at only increasing X amount of % every day.
Yeah, apparently it's going for around 200 mil-ish. I'm not sure how common the drop is though. I'm still nowhere near drop rate, obviously, but I'm at like maybe 35, 40 gauntlet kill count. We know that there's like 10 to 20 bought or sold every day. So I'm not sure how common a drop it'll be. We'll just have to wait for the drop rates. And then we'll have to wait also until we get things like GE tracker and stuff to update in terms of individual sales that happen. So we know exactly how much each one is going for.
Yeah, and it's been less than a week, right? So it's going to take some time, but we'll see where it settles to. And then with the crystal armors, there's it has a perk where it gives you 15% damage boost and 30% accuracy boost with the crystal bow. People are saying how this doesn't seem like it's high enough, so I think Jagex might look at it, but nothing that I've seen where they're actually they've said for sure whether or not they're going to tweak it. Mm-hmm. And then there's a new agility course in Prifdina's. Right now, it gives you 56k agility experience at level 90. However, you can improve it using the shortcuts to 62,000 experience per hour. You can do this course at level 75. And I did see that they're looking to make it a little bit better. 60k agility experience flat, and then 66k agility experience using the shortcuts. So they're going to increase it by 4,000. I mean, that's not that big of a deal to me, at least.
It looks like it's going to be like a decent change, in my opinion. It's one of those things where I don't really train too much. Like, I don't really have a high enough agility level to train at Ardoin, so I don't know how big a difference it is.
And I do know
the agility, like, in Prifdina's a shot. I don't know if I have the level for it.
It's 75 to do it, and then it's like 90 to do max rates. So I haven't done Ardo. I've maybe done Ard. I don't know if I've done Ardone actually, because I need a boost for that. No, I definitely haven't done it. I heard Ardone's pretty AFK. This doesn't feel AFK, but one thing I've seen people say they really liked about this agility course, and I totally get it, is you're not running like a circle around the city. You kind of run a straight path, and you can take shortcuts that go to different areas. And you just, when you get to the end of the agility course, there's just a hole you go through, and it brings you to the very beginning. People have been saying it's a lot more fun because it doesn't feel as repetitive as going around in a circle over and over again. It's more of like a random straight line, and that changes up every now and then. Yeah,
I should totally give that a shot then. I can report back with insider deets later. This is just another one of those things that they're going to pull, and it's nice that they're really reactive in changing some things that need to be changed.
Yeah, I agree there. You have an Iorth dungeon. That's another place you can kill Slayer monsters, Dark Beasts, Karasks, Necrios, Bloodvelds, Water Fiends, Moss Giants. They're pulling the Dark Beast out of the Karen catacombs as well. So now if you have this area here or the Dark Beast. Yeah, that's it. And they're doing that for thematic reasons. As you kill these, it's kind of similar to the catacombs, but instead of dropping shards, it'll drop crystal shards. They have a crystal tree patch, which will be giving you 13k experience when harvest. You need 74 farming to plant. And they have a enhanced crystal chest, which is similar to the crystal chest in Draenor. No, not Draenor, Taverley, but it yields more value, as well as new armors that people are very upset about, but we'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
New implings, crystal implings, which have a 5% chance of giving the armors and tool weapons, and tool weapons, yeah. It gives you a new, the crystal implings give you a new ring called the Elven Signet, which offers a 5% chance to not use any charges when using crystal armor.
Yeah, and that ring is really expensive at the moment. I think it's going for like 30 mil as well.
Oh wow, yeah, and I can see that being great for the tools. Mm-hmm. Armor, I'm not as sure about, but regardless, it's cool to have some skilling equipment, I guess. And then there's the divine potions, which I completely forgot about. And they have one for every single combat potion. So there's attack, strength, defense, range, magic, and super combat potions. And what this one does is for 5 minutes, your boost will stay at the level you boost to. Like whereas a normal super combat potion, every I think it's minute, you go down 1 level in your boost until you get down to your regular level. This one for 5 minutes, you'll stay completely boosted. So you'll be at 118 if you're level 99 for the full 5 minutes. But if you use brews or other consumables that will bring down that stat, it won't refresh to 118. It will refresh to whatever you brewed down to.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about this. These potions.
This is pretty big.
Yeah, what do you think? For better or for worse?
We can't really be too sure for now. In my opinion, for worse at the moment. But
okay,
it's pretty big. So for Theater of Blood, normally you bring in 3 super combats, and in Theater of Blood, inventory space is a premium. And with the divine potions, you can bring in 2 instead because of the way they work. Because you don't have to constantly be repotting. From what I can tell, at least, you can bring in just 2. I've started bringing in 2 with just divines. It's been fine. If you know when to, so the potions damage you 10 for 10 damage every time you take a sip, which is, I guess, the way of balancing it. But the way Theater of Blood works is at the end of every fight that you do, you get your health back, you get your prayer back, and you get your spec back. But you don't lose the stats that you have. So if you're either boosted up or brewed down, you keep your stats. But what that means is there are certain moments during the fight where if you're just about to kill one of the bosses, you can drink a divine potion. You'll take the 10 damage, finish the fight, heal back up to full because the fight ended, and you keep the boost for another 5 minutes. So for things like that, it's pretty big. For things like raids, I'm not really sure how useful it'll be generally because you can during regular raids you're always brewing down and back up and stuff. It doesn't seem worth it to bring in the divine. The other big thing though is the Inferno. Yeah, because in the Inferno, I haven't done the Inferno since getting the divine potions. I'm still waiting on getting a bunch more gear before I do it again. But when you do the Inferno, if you can time it well, you could probably use the divine potion without any issues as well, even though it deals 10 damage. Because what I'm guessing, and I haven't checked with anybody who does the Inferno a lot, but what I would do personally is just wait until the first Jad fight. I'd drink a divine ranging potion to start the Jad fight, and then I would heal up the 10 damage that I got by blood blitzing or blood barraging the healers that Jad spawns. And then that way you get back up to 99 and you have that divine ranging potion basically until the final Jad in the triple Jad section. Once you get to triple Jads, you just do the same thing with the last set of healers that the third Jad spawns. So as you finish killing the third Jad, you drink another Divine Ranging Potion or Divine Bastion or whatever. And
okay, that's interesting.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I think so.
The system.
I feel like the problem is I'm not quite there yet, so I don't know the fights too well, or if like I'm trying to picture it though, and yeah, like see the thing, I totally forgot this came out, and I haven't had a chance to try it out much because I just I haven't used it myself personally.
Yeah,
but I'm sure we're gonna see people breaking it down, like how it's
they are obviously more expensive.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So there's not too much content where it's actually worth bringing in over just regular potions, but certainly in ones where either inventory space is a premium, or more than anything, especially when it comes to super like efficient raids or super high level PVM like the Inferno, it's not so much the inventory space. Once you learn the Inferno, like you'll be able to do it without using all your brews and stuff, but it's more so that you don't lose, your stats aren't constantly brewed down, or your stats aren't constantly like falling below max boost, which is the big thing. So I don't know how I feel. I voted no to the Divine Potions personally, but we'll have to wait and see if this changes the meta for anything, because already it's started to.
Yeah, and it usually takes some time, and it'll settle down, and next thing you know, the wiki's updated with it thrown in a bunch of different scenarios.
Yeah.
All right, but now we get to talk about, I think it's some competitions that they had.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so first things first, the lore recap of the Elven questline so far. The winner for that one was K80, and he had done as they say, a humorous animated short, and it was featured as the top. Oh, and sorry, he submitted a hilarious animated short. That's how they describe it. In second place was Turtletail, who his submission was a narrative of the hero's story from the perspective of an elven citizen of Prifddinas. Turtletail has his own Terranwin only Ultimate Iron Man.
Yeah.
Third place was Dr. Pickle, who had a comedic video. And it was a series of Elven questline themed shows and advertisements. And then honorable mentions are Colonello, Iona Saren, Lil Elvarg, Mini Chocobo, Rushlash, Soul Spark, and the Voxbox. I mean, as the theme for the Golden Gnomes, I have to go back and check these myself, but I'm going to make a note and I'm going to probably check them out.
Yeah, same.
In a couple days.
The comic skits one sounds like something I would really enjoy, to be honest. So
yeah, I'm interested. I piqued my interest.
Yeah, I'm excited now. We have a lot to catch up on then, between the Golden Gnome nominations, the video makers and stuff,
and whatever other controversies happen in between.
I can't forget those.
And then they had the login skin competition. Of course, the winner was God of Onion. The second place was Dagna. Third place, player owned. Fourth place, Fadine Door. All looked really cool. They were the top ones. Then honorable mentions were Games X, Runezilla, Rushlash, Tamara, UIM Herblore, and they all look pretty cool. Pretty cool login screens. I would have been happy with either one of any one of them. Yeah. And they had lore suggestions. Unfortunately, they could not all be added, but we'd like to highlight a few of the following players whose entries have become canon and are now featured in the Grand Library. So Acer Warrior, Bob 10-10-10-10-2, Chapeau 42, Kush Cleric, Mr. Fahrenheit, Rallis, Spine Wielder, Sundays, and Thamar.
You just know that Kush Cleric had some kind of weird lore where Prifddinas elves were just like hippies.
He explains why the her patch is in Prifddinas.
Oh. Grimy Ranar weed.
And then, yeah, of course, they have the Gauntlet Challenge going on, so you can win yourself a RuneScape GT Omega Pro gaming chair. Of course, they would call it that, the GT Omega Pro. Yeah, you can win yourself a gaming chair, and it's And then also a special thanks to all the players who play tested Song of the Elves. That is 7i, Adwarn, Aiza, Cloud Badass, Fieria, Ginger Beardy, Jakeysaurus, Nightinator, Luthien T2, MMORPG RS, DKHO, OVL, Scotsman, Settled, Sick Nerd, Skidler, Sonic, Sorrowspell, and Thurko.
Like the dwarf?
Thurko. So maybe the cousin of the dwarf. I don't know.
Nice.
But yeah, that's basically it. So shout out to the team who got together to make this quest. Mod Curse, Ed, G, Ghost, Lenny, Rye, and West. I think they did a really good job, and I enjoyed it overall. And it sounds like you enjoyed it as well. Yeah,
the update is great. I know there are a couple of people, like a couple of hitches that the community's getting.
It would not be a big update if there wasn't some controversy that came with it. So,
but in general, I think I agree with some of the big issues that the community's brought up. But in general, the update is really, really nice. The art style, questionable, but in terms of just Prifddinas itself, the city is gorgeous. It fits in my opinion. The city, not the characters. We'll look at that in a second, but
it's gotta make that disclaimer.
It's just like one of those like prescription medication disclaimers that take forever. That's how it feels when you have to like qualify any kind of opinion in Oldschool RuneScape.
Yeah, it's that's true. You'll have someone will be pissed off. That's for sure.
Warning: the following content contains views respective to only the viewer himself and the viewer alone. Please do not disagree with any of them. If you continue to be upright, fuck. I lost it towards the end of that.
It was good. The first half was phenomenal.
If you continue to be outraged for over 4 hours, please consult a physician.
One of the RuneScape physicians up in there in Jagex. But anyways, on to the controversy. Everybody's favorite part, as you mentioned. Some people got pretty riled up about the chat heads. Or not the chat heads. The graphic, some of the art styles. Okay, it's the chat heads. I kind of let that one. I'm getting a little tired. We have so much to talk about.
Well, the chat heads and the models, and some of the graphic models as well. For the armor.
So some of them were the more updated models, as in, there's just a little bit more work put to it. A lot of people were upset about it, and I get the criticisms of it. They say it's too designed. It doesn't look like old school RuneScape. It looks more RS3. I can definitely see their criticism for. It was unfortunate that the front page of Reddit was only focusing on this stuff, because I felt like they were ignoring a lot of the other parts of the quest and how well done it was. It just kind of shit on one small aspect of it. But regardless, did you have any strong feelings about the chat heads?
Yeah. And it goes both ways. I had a couple strong feelings about the chat heads and a couple strong feelings about the community's approach to the chat heads.
And models. When I say chat heads, I mean some of the models as well.
Yeah. So I don't like the chat heads at all. Mm-hmm. I know I'm not like I'm not about to riot in game or something and lose my shit. I think they should be reverted. And actually, in the day one report, which have we mentioned the day one report yet?
But, that's kind of where we're at. They came out with a dev blog today where they're kind of, it came out yesterday-ish. They updated it yesterday.
It came out. It came out after day one. If the name
right, it's the day one report. That's.
They basically talked about what they noticed, a couple of things and a couple pieces of feedback that they've heard. Things like balancing certain, like the Gauntlet and Zolkano and stuff. One of the other things they mentioned, though, is the big uproar about the chat heads, how, in my opinion, the chat heads just looked really puffy. It looked like, when you're allergic to bees and you get stung and your face just puffs up? That's what the new chat heads looked like. And the big one that people were riled up about was Elena.
Yeah.
So they came out with the day one report where they pretty much suggested an alternate chat head model where it's kind of like a nice compromise between the old chat head where it was just like a generic woman and the new art style where it's not really all that puffy and stuff, but it's a little bit more in line with just like the Prifddinas update, and still keeping a little bit of that old school feel. I don't know if I'm gonna vote for. I already voted. I don't know if I voted for the updated chat head or just the old one to be reverted. And I know they're gonna start addressing the rest of the models because it's not just Elena. The other thing that people were riled up about was the color of Lord Yorworth, which we talked about when we talked about the quest. How there's a lot of ambiguity about your morals, and if you're the good guy, if the Yorworth clan is the bad guys, etc. And a lot of people felt like having them be the only elf race that was colored purple took a lot of that out there, because a big part of the quest is the idea that you're with a group of elves fighting another group of elves. Who's to say you guys are right and they're wrong? And the big thing was, if they're colored like bad guys and they all look really menacing and purple and shit, of course that's going to sway the general opinion, and I think it loses some of that really nice storytelling value.
And I 100% agree. Yeah,
they mentioned they're going to change that. The one thing I do want to, and I know I'm like rambling here, but the one thing I do want to bring up is, first of all, this isn't the first time that specifically these like kinds of models came out. Konar and a bunch of people in Kebos came out with a similar design.
Yep.
The problem is a lot of people have been using that as ammunition to flame Mod G, which is really not the right way to go, in my opinion. It's really disheartening, first. And second, she seems to be taking it like a great sport. Did you know that she changed her Twitter profile picture to one of the memes where somebody superimposed Elena's chat head onto her face?
Yeah, I did see that, and she had something like feeling cute, might revert later or something like that.
Yeah. So she's taking it in stride, but at the same time, here's my opinion on her work. And a lot of people have been defending her, and a lot of people have been flaming her, and a lot of people have been flaming the people defending her because it's like white knighting and stuff. If you take that whole drama out, here's my opinion on things. She's a really good artist that should not be working on the old school team. She would be way better suited to RS3 because that's where her art style would thrive, A. B, you can tell she has a lot of creative ideas that would change the aesthetic look of the game. And when she first came on, I was there for her first Q&A. I watched her work, and she talked about how she was inspired by things like Overwatch and stuff. The art style she uses, the coloring, etc., would be way better suited to RS3, where, like you said, they're more adaptable.
Yep.
They're open to different art styles. The graphics in RS3, obviously higher fidelity. There's more to do in terms of shading and stuff. Whereas for RS3, it's really minimalist. And so, like, I kind of hope people empathize with her in the sense
it's hard to tell someone like, hey, you do really, like, I don't want to say you're doing your work's too good for old school RuneScape, but it's like, hey, it's how do you tell an artist like your work is good, but you need to put less detail into it? Like that's tough, right?
I'm not saying like we should give her a pass or anything. And this is the thing. She's a young artist. She's in the early stages of her career. Part of her development as a professional should be being able to realize that there are times where you have to change your art to fit the art style you're working in and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And that's something that she's obviously going to learn now. She's already like taken it in stride, I think, with the whole like chat head felt cute, might revert later thing. Yeah, this is something that she will learn from, and she seems like the kind of person who will take that in stride and really learn how to become a better professional. Because at the end of the day, you're a professional artist. At that point, like, it's your job to kind of nail the art style of things. And the difference between a good artist and a great one is for you to be able to sit in front of a desk, look at a bunch of examples and say, okay, I can add to this perfectly and keep the aesthetic the way it is. So people are like flaming her, people are being sexist, whatever. I'm not defending her. I think she messed up. I also think it's fine to mess up, and it's like totally okay to be able to move on from that. Don't give her personal shit for it.
It's what's beautiful about like an MMO RPG. You can go back and change it if people don't like it. And I totally agree where like the character models, they don't really fit. I like the proposed chat head where it's like an in-between. I think the old chat head is I think it's really bad looking. I know some people think that's the charm of old school RuneScape, but I've said it before that if they pulled OS HD, RS HD, I would like to have that.
Yeah.
But what draws me into RuneScape isn't so much the graphics, it's everything surrounding it. That being said, I totally get where those chat heads and the models don't fit. And I agree with you that maybe she shouldn't be working on character models. She does really good work. And what I've noticed is people have no problem with that type of work when it's like a boss or something. There's many like Lady Verzik, I think is a lot more smoother models and you could just tell it was a more recent release versus other bosses, right?
Yeah. Out of curiosity, have you seen the post made by a user on Reddit that basically called out both the JMods and the community and basically was like, fuck you both, you're both wrong, this is what's the issue? And he basically...
I may have. Is this I did see a post where somebody broke it down. It's just like, okay, no one's giving criticism. You're just shitting on the design. Here's why it doesn't look.
Yeah, exactly.
So I might have seen that one, yeah.
They broke down, I don't know if it's a he or she, but they broke down like, this is what's different. The shading you use, the way the textures wrap around things. You're using one type of shading, which is called, I have it up here.
It's the Dragonstone armor, right?
It's not just it was the Dragonstone armor post, but they addressed a little bit more about the go rod shading. Is that how you pronounce it? And he basically talks about how the way go rod, it looks like MS Paint almost, where you have the gradient tool.
Okay, yeah.
I can link you this. I don't know if you want to post it in the show notes or something, but this was basically a breakdown of why certain pieces of content look and feel like old school and why others feel like RS3.
Right. Okay. Yeah. They take examples of armor that looks RS3 and armor that is from old school RuneScape, and he really breaks it down. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. In terms of going back to the whole like chat head community outrage, the chat heads I think should be reverted. They should probably go back and look at them, and I think this will be another lesson in them trying to do too much to change the aesthetic. Old school RuneScape is in a really, really good place in terms of their aesthetic at the moment. In terms of they're slowly trying to change it, not to make it completely different, but you can tell with things like the Forthos dungeon, etc., they're making steps in learning how to capture the aesthetic without losing without like how to improve the quality without losing the aesthetic and without losing the nostalgic feeling, because it's such an iconic art style that you don't want to lose, but you also want to be able to make this game not only more approachable, but you want to make the content varied. There's only so many times you can reuse the same textures.
And you want to make it look good as it can with it fitting the design, which is where like Theater of Blood really shines, where a lot of it looks more detailed, but because it seems to fit.
Exactly. Some parts of Prifddinas have that RS3 feel to them. I don't know if that's the back of my mind thinking, like, associating RS3 with Prifddinas, or if it's the actual art style, and I don't think I'm good enough at the subject of art design and art science to, like, figure out why exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the update as a whole, there are elements that are good in terms of the art design, and some, like the models, the Dragonstone armor was another one where it felt like way over the top kind of RS3 design, which already they've designed a kind of compromise.
Right, yeah. In that Elven chest we talked about, they brought this new cosmetic set. If you look it up, it looks pretty ridiculous. The helmet mainly, it's mostly the helmet, but when you have the full set on, it looks straight from RuneScape 3. That's also being proposed to be redesigned.
Yeah. I don't know what the future of old school graphics will look like in terms of specifically if they're going to continue to go down the RS3 route. It seems like we're going to have a period where it's just going to be compromises of them. Like, it's a learning period, clearly. We're in a good spot where they realize that there's a design and an aesthetic they need to stick to, that they need to preserve, and they're trying to figure out how to preserve that while still improving the graphics and giving us the quality of work.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you train new artists to do this style, right? It's so easy to over-design it, so...
And the other thing is, you don't want to be the company where artists come to die. You don't want it so that Mod G comes in, tries to implement her own art design, and then when she moves on to her next career choice, like her next job, they ask for her portfolio and she can't use anything because
it looks like shit. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Exactly.
That's the problem with like the people who learn code here, is like there's coding through a language called Runescape, which you can never use in any other anywhere else for any other company. So a lot of people say for like developing for this game, it's like career suicide in a sense.
Yeah. So you don't want to like inhibit your artists from shining. And that's true. Where maybe Mod G might be better suited to RS3, where it's like you have this specific art aesthetic that you are really good at using, and it fits in with RS3 more. So that's a place where you can grow as a professional. Or maybe it comes down to her figuring out how to tool her own art style around the world of OSRS.
Yeah,
and make it so that it's a big career, like it's a big moment for her where it's like, and this is coming again, I know this is not an unqualified opinion, but to me, again, what separates the good designers from the great ones is their ability to perfectly encapsulate an aesthetic.
Yeah, it's like, I have a few tattoos done. You go to an artist and I might like their style. And when I'm pitching an idea, they might not like my idea, but they need to figure out a way to still be able to give me what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I think that's what makes a good tattoo artist, just like any other artist. I have this one tattoo piece. What I wanted was, I went in and I was like, I like your art style. I want my skin ripping open. I want my machine parts like as my bones, basically. And he was like, totally get what you're saying. That's a very common tattoo. If you don't mind, I can give you that idea, but I can make it in a way where it's completely unique to you and you're not going to see other people with it. Whereas if I give you what you want now, other people will have something pretty similar. And he ended up designing something that I just like loved. It was like he put a female on my body, on my arm, and her skin that was ripping open, not mine. So it's it takes a skill to be able to do that type of work.
Exactly.
Like be able to do. It might not be what you want to do, but you have to find a middle ground where you can give what everyone else wants.
Yeah, I don't think this is grounds for flaming anyone. I don't think it's grounds for flaming, regardless of. Okay, yeah, she's a girl gamer, whatever. But you could tell she put a lot of heart and soul into it. She was really eager to share a lot of her work, and it does stand out when she hits on certain aesthetics. It really, really works. Like,
look at those those little desert lizard things and I forget what they're called. They look like geckos, but fucking great looking.
Yeah, the desert lizards in Mount Kurum, which I was going to say the Mount Kurum design as a whole, everyone who contributed to that nailed it perfectly.
Yeah, awesome looking monsters.
She has like a really good sense of, she's really good at drawing and designing and stuff. And now I think the thing is just being able to address, like, if she messes up without flaming the shit out of her or without turning it into a whole neckbeard versus white knight argument like this community loves.
Yeah, it's a rough one. That being said, with this blog here, they did drop a bunch of numbers and some stats, which are kind of cool. So we'll just quickly go through them. Since I guess this is the second day the quest was out, but it has been completed 15,000 times. Wait, hold on 1 minute. Sorry. As of the Friday, so the day after the quest came out, 15,000 people completed the quest. The gauntlet was completed close to 33,000 times. Players have died 57,000 times in the gauntlet. The corrupted gauntlet has been completed almost 1,000 times. Players who have died
all of them were me.
Damn, dude. Wook's completed it once and got the record, and he just got off. Oh, he's like, I'm done. Players have died in the Corrupted Gauntlet 12,500 times. Players have defeated Zulcano 18.5 thousand times. Zulcano has defeated close to 18,000 people. And players have run a total of 35,000 laps. So it's pretty cool. And the thing I like, going back to the agility thing, what I like about it as well, it tells you your personal best.
Yeah.
And it also tells you the best anyone's ever hit. So that's pretty cool.
Is that what the woman like is with or whatever outside?
I think so. She has stats for it, so you can check it out. Be like the best time anyone's done. The global best time is this. Your best time is that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good quest overall. And there was a lot to go through there. And I'm sure we're gonna have more to talk about as the weeks come. But I guess let's run over to community chatter. We'll speed round it a little bit because we still got a little bit more to go through.
Yeah.
Oh, again, another related to Prifdinez, the Underground Pass, the obstacles were kind of nerfed, so it was a lot harder to fail. That might be reverted. Not entirely sure yet. There is an item used in the quest. There's actually 2 items you can use. When Wooks was doing it, he mentioned it was a black dagger, and the black dagger went 10 times as much in price because everyone just went to go buy it.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
The big thing was like watching the items that you need in the quest, without spoiling it for anyone who still hasn't had the chance. Like, it's crazy the fluctuation of like the riddle items.
Yeah. And there's a couple quest items that were like, kind of unique. And yeah, you go to buy and you're like, okay, I'm gonna just put 10K because it's definitely it's gonna be shooting up in price, and I don't feel like trying to buy it a bunch. Zezma, we all know Zezma. He's been permanently locked out of his account in RuneScape. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, because people keep trying to log into his account.
Yeah, because his username, it's so old. It's Zezma, and he hasn't changed the name. Jagex has offered to change his login to an email address, but Zezma declined that. He says no, he wants to keep it as Zezma. So for now, he's locked out of his own account.
I was just going to say, like, I can see where he's coming from where it comes to not wanting to lose the prestige of having the username Zezma to log in. Mm-hmm. What if they gave him his own specialized... What if the email was Zezma@Zezma.Zezma? Like...
Sick.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because he might not even want that. Like, my login for my account right now, it's not an email. It's like you could never guess it because it's the most random thing.
112.
Okay, well, where's Jagex customer support? But yeah, I mean, if they were like, hey, we want to change it to your email, I'd be like, no, come on, like my account's so secure right now. So I mean, I guess I can kind of get it. I don't know. It's tricky though. It sucks he's logged out of his account though. Anyways, I saw on the RuneScape subreddit something that was kind of interesting. So you have never played RuneScape 3, right?
I've played bits and pieces. Like 2014 was the last time.
Oh, okay. So you're aware of the whole NXT client launching, right? When they were like updating the graphics and everything?
Not straight up in terms of... I don't know if I was there when it launched, but I remember the whole thing where someone accidentally leaked it and stuff.
Okay, well, I was on the subreddit and they were talking about when NXT was launching, which was like this new client, and it was going to allow you, like, the draw distance was huge. You could see the render distance was so far, it was extremely far, and the graphics were all updated, but it also brought in these problems that Jagex had to figure out a solution for. When I thought it was kind of interesting. For example, with now you being able to see so far in the distance, it made the world feel smaller, because if you were on Catherby, you could now see the shores of Karamja.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that's how big the difference was.
Well, yeah, you could see, like, the draw distance was huge, but also a lot of areas aren't extremely far apart. in RuneScape because I guess it takes up memory.
Yeah, no, there's no point like literally rendering like an entire ocean.
Yeah. So when, if RuneScape, old school RuneScape ever had this, yeah, you'd be able to see Karamja. It would look like, hey, I could just swim there. Why do I need to take a boat?
Yeah. It's like, have you done, I'm sure you've done big chompy bird hunting, I think. And then, what was that other quest where you get the people, like, Rance's brothers, or Rance's, like, kids or family or some shit?
Yeah, okay. Maybe that was for,
they row you
Recipe for
across
Disaster.
from Feldapils to Karamja. Except you can literally see Karamja from Feldapils. So it's like, why the hell did I spend so long trying to get these guys to help me out when I can just swim there? You could even, like, there might be a rock in the middle. You could literally jump across. It's like in jumping distance.
Yeah, that breaks the immersion a little bit.
Yeah.
But so the way RuneScape 3 fixed this was they put a wall around the islands, and they put a wall around like the continent that was like in the ocean, and the wall looked like a fog that also looked like the water.
Yeah.
So now you would look and you're like, oh, I'm just looking at the ocean, but it's really you're looking at a wall that looked like an ocean that went on forever. So it's an interesting workaround. That's why I put it in there. That was pretty neat. Oh, something happened in Glariel's tomb where there's no more skeletons and the moss giants are non-aggressive anymore.
People were losing their shit about how this is a big thing for hardcore Ironman specifically, where one of the biggest like early game risks they have to take is the fact that a lot of the time they do waterfall with below the max hit for a moss giant.
Sure.
They already said this was unintentional though, and they're going to revert it with the next update.
Yeah, okay, so that's gonna be fixed. That's crazy. But on the topic of unknown nerfs, user in the clan chat, Gloctopus, he's been doing a lot of Forthos Dungeon since it was released, and he noticed a week after it was released that he was receiving, I think it was less money per hour. And more specifically, he was getting a lot the pages you need for the quest, the mini quest. He was receiving those like significantly less, and he said he'd been doing it enough that it was noticeable for him. Yeah, he just said like I think it got nerfed, but none of this was ever mentioned, and he seems like a bunch of it got nerfed without. I don't know. So I thought that was. Could be something. Definitely.
I'm not sure if they've like mentioned it. I don't think they have. So we'll have to. I mean, I can always go back and check it out.
Well, it's nothing they have actually mentioned unless it was on Twitter. That's the problem. A lot of the times they mention these like one-off. Oh yeah, we'll change this, we'll fix this, but it's on Twitter and it never gets addressed in a dev blog. Like that happens the odd time, and it's a little bit tricky. And on to the last piece of, and this is some pretty juicy news, and how exciting. We're going to run some of the, let's get that conspiracy music going.
Do it up. My first conspiracy music. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, this is, we're tackling all angles this episode. All right. Okay. So we got some intel information from Exira's on Discord. So
Exira's extras. Is it extras or Exira's?
Oh, I don't know. Anyways, luckily you said it, so we covered both grounds.
Okay, go for it.
He will get back to us. Anyways, he just sent a message saying, I want to start by saying this is completely unconfirmed. This is only what I've been told by someone working in the same building as me. As some of you may already know, I work in Farnborough, the town where they hold RuneFest. My company shares a building with 3 other companies, one of which is a VR gaming company called N-Dreams. The other 2 companies are Qualcomm and something called Satisfy. We share a single smoking area, which means people from all 4 companies quite often chat about the things going on within the building, and me being a gamer, I always try to find out what the N-Dream guys are up to. Today on my afternoon break, I got chatting and casually mentioned that I'd love to go to RuneFest, but I can't justify the cost. He told me that some of the End Dreams devs have been working on something for RuneFest, and they've already had visits from Jagex people, but he's not been part of the project, and it's being kept quiet so that person doesn't know all the information. End Dreams does have a history with Jagex, and I have no reason to doubt what this guy has told me. Also, the company I work for arranges corporate travel and events, and just out of curiosity, I had a little look through our customer database. I'm a developer and I help maintain these things, so I'd have access to this info anyways. In the last couple of months, we have booked several hotel stays in Farnborough for Shanghai Fukong, which is Jagex's parent company. So it seems Jagex might be planning some sort of VR experience for RuneFest. I'll be talking to as many End Dream guys as I can to find out more information, but I couldn't wait to tell you about it, especially if anyone here is lucky enough to be going to RuneFest.
Bombshell.
Yeah, big moment. And then he did a follow-up saying, looks like he might be going to RuneFest, so he'll be able to tell us firsthand. He'll be our live on the scene correspondent.
Oh yeah.
More information about that afterwards, but I don't know. Let's talk. What do you think that could mean?
So I was at work when I read this,
Yep.
And then I instantly I made a 1 sentence reply, I think, but to I guess expand on that a little bit. I think it's very interesting. Big suggestions, especially with the Shanghai Fukong booking. If this is legit, my guess is honestly probably something to do with RS3. And I was thinking maybe it might be some kind of VR experience of RS3 in RuneFest. I don't know if they're going to be announcing RS3 coming straight to VR. That would be insane, especially considering they haven't even finished their mobile project, I don't think.
Right. A while ago, I don't know if you remember, but they had a giant survey talking about RuneScape, and they had a lot of questions asking, like, what consoles do you play? What type of games do you like? If we made a new RuneScape game, what would you like it to be like? And would you play a RuneScape console game? So I was like wondering, like, shit, could this maybe be the direction they want to go with a standalone RuneScape game, like an offline one?
Honestly, that would be really cool if they somehow...
If they do a good job?
Yeah, but what I was thinking was keep OSRS the way it is, make it so that it's the grind that's enjoyable. Maybe some people in RS3 will not like the fact that their max capes are devalued, but make it so that progression in RS3 is as fast as it is. But if you can somehow port it to a console where RS3 kind of stands apart, at that point it's like RS4 or something. Shit, maybe they skip one. Maybe it's like the Xbox where they go straight to like Xbox One from 360.
God damn.
Or like the iPhone, you just miss 9 or whatever.
RuneScape X.
Exactly, they just come out straight with X and it's some VR, like you go and do bandos with friends, except you're like, holy shit, he's gonna stand on me, no way, this is so cool. You get like all those VR moments.
Yeah, and see, I'm a bit biased because I have the Oculus, so I'm totally down for this.
That would be pretty cool. Honestly, if they wanted to revive RuneScape, that'd probably be the best way to do it. And then that way you could keep OSRS as like the mobile like click grind that it is. But the way RS3 is going, it's not sustainable. Like, they're losing their player base by the day at this point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And the more that players they lose, the more MTX they feel like they need to shove in their faces, which causes more people to... It's a vicious circle.
That being said, though, we need RS3 to stay alive, because that's what keeps our microtransactions out of Oldschool, but also because, like, there needs to be some kind of... Jagex can't be a one-trick pony, because if RS3 dies and OSRS is the only thing they have, even if they never add microtransactions, as a company, that would make it way harder for them to survive. The fact that they're potentially on sale as well, if they only have one marketable product, everything else Jagex has tried to do, this flopped, Fun Orb, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Ace of Spades, I think, was their last attempt, which is just like cashing in on gimmicky stuff. If they can manage to pull off VR, sure, they're not about to become like a VR company. Maybe they're not about to like compete with this End Dreams company or anything, but all of a sudden, could they potentially have the first big VR MMO? I don't know if there are any big ones out there currently.
They have one called Orbis. It's the only VR MMO, or at least MMORPG. Haven't played it myself, but yeah, I don't know. I'd be definitely interested, and yeah, I don't know.
That could be pretty big. That's something to keep an eye on. But it might just be something that they do in RS, like in RuneFest, where it's just like, here's a cool VR display we designed. Isn't this amazing? Like, here's a tour of their version of Fossil Island.
Yeah, that's true.
Game.
Yeah, they might make it so like, here, walk around the map of Gielinor. Yeah, it's hard to say, but we'll find out.
We'll find out with our man on the scene,
with our on the scene correspondent. But more on that. Actually, we'll bring that up before we finish up this episode. But as we get closer to the date, I'm sure we'll get more information. And then the last bit of chatter, I should have put this in earlier, but I just saw it now. Rendy, of course, he gets the record for the lowest combat level Song of the Elves quest complete at level 45.
Yeah, that guy's a madman. I still
Sounds about right.
Watched that video, but I don't know if he just like did a trident build or something. Ivan's Blast. I know you have to make.
Yeah, he had Ivan's Blast.
Oh, nice.
That's it for our community chatter, but we got a little bit more to talk about. This is a segment where we like to go teleport back in time to July 26th, and we're going to talk July 26th, 2001, and tell you what update came out that week 18 years ago. And this was an interesting update. So it says here, the bank has been upgraded so you can now store any items in the bank, not just gold. That's so weird. What a weird concept. I mean, it makes sense. It's a bank at its truest form.
Yeah. That's Easyscape at its fullest. I mean, it's crazy, like, banks weren't even centralized, or banks weren't, like, decentralized. Every bank had its own storage at one point.
Oh, yeah, that's so true.
But,
and then it says, it's useful for keeping your spare weapons, your gems, anything else you might want in the store. You can store up to 48 different items with a maximum limit of 16 million items per stack. Runite, okay, this is a big one. Runite items have finally been added to the game. Runite is the most powerful metal in the game, and it's even better than adamantite.
Nice.
Both rune weapons and rune armor are now available to purchase from the Champions Guild. Hint, there is an extra item only available as a rare monster drop from a particularly strong monster.
Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Could it be the rune scimitar? Off the top of my head, I want to say it's the rune scimitar.
Maybe, or maybe like a... God, I want to say it was the rune longsword.
Because the rune scimitar isn't sold by anyone, is it?
No, but I think at this time, like, the rune longsword was the best weapon for a time.
Oh, really? See, I did not know that.
See, I can't find it now. Well, anyways, on top of that, though, it says player-owned houses have been removed. This is because since they were originally planned in RuneScape, RuneScape became much more popular, and there is nowhere near enough to go around. Instead, the two updates have been included to compensate. The bank item lets anyone store the items they want to, and the Runite items are an alternative for people to spend money they have been saving on. Beforehand, they had like houses you could buy in Varrock, which would be your house.
That's insane.
That's cool, but then I guess...
I didn't know that either.
I remember that because they had a construction skill they were going to bring out, and then I think the slums, you were able to buy property there and like build your own house, but then like if I bought a house, you couldn't buy that house unless I sold it to you or something.
Yeah, and then it failed the poll, and that's why we never got construction in the game.
I guess so. Now here we are. Now we all get our player-owned houses.
Shit.
All right, so that's all the updates for that. Now we're going. It's been a while, but we're gonna go to lore. So here we go. When last we talked about lore, we discussed the Maiden of Sugadentai and how she was once a citizen battling to be freed through the Theater of Blood. She had a brother who was sick due to giving blood to blood teats to the vampires of the region. She was promised that if she defeated the Theater of Blood and Lady Verzik, she would be freed along with her brother. And Seraphina was in fact able to defeat the Theater of Blood and become the very first victor. But she had a choice. She herself could be freed, but her brother would remain in the region, continuing to give blood teats, which would lead to his inevitable death. Or she could remain within Mireditch and become an experiment along with her brother. She agreed, and thus Seraphina and her brother became yet another experiment for the Theater of Blood. She eventually turned in to the Maiden of Sugadentai, one of the more successful experiments, and was now a foe for other Theater of Blood combatants. Her brother, on the other hand, was seen as a more failed experiment and was left in the dungeons of Verzenhaza. Many of the creatures within the Theater of Blood are in fact experiments, which leads us to the second room within. Inside, it is clearly some sort of test chamber, and within this test chambers is a monster. The pestilent bloat. Lady Verzik, while she was not the king of the area, that was left to Lord Draken himself. Since she had helped Lord Draken conquer the area of Mauritania, she was given lordship and given the castle of Verzenhaza. Many of her people that had worked for her and worked underneath her within the castle of Verzenhaza knew that if they pleased her, they would be rewarded. But if they did not, they would be punished, and more often than not, would the latter happen. One of the scientists that worked for her was known as the Butcher. Known for his mental decline and psychotic episodes, many left him to be, but he was capable of carrying out such experiments that other vampires would not be willing to do. The pestilent bloat is the aftermath of one of his experiments. Lady Verzik commanded the Butcher to create a masterpiece of an experiment. She wanted a creature that was like none other. So the Butcher went to work. He acquired ingredients to create this monstrosity. 3 giant heads, the body of a decapitated ogre, 2 crushed frogs, 4 buckets of human blood, 2 cyclops arms, 2 catbill pawn legs, and an apple pie. He began sewing the body together and used the buckets of blood to fill the body. He hooked them into the test chambers to fill them with an unknown liquid. And to the Butcher's surprise, the pestilent bloat was born. This monster was uncontrollable. It lacked reasoning skills that many other mortals have. The Butcher left the creature in the test chambers and decided to run to go show Lady Verzik of his creation. Once he arrived to Lady Verzik's chambers, he noticed she was not there, and the room was littered with Nilokas. And unfortunately, that is all that was recorded in the transcript from the Butcher. It is a bit of a mystery of what happened to the Butcher himself and what happened at the end of the book, where he went to go show Lady Verzik his creation. But at the end of his book, there are 3 anagrams left, and these read, Seraphina was betrayed, Verzik is dead, and the Nilokas will rule. And throughout his transcript, there is a code laid throughout his writings, and the code spells, do not trust her. What is told of Seraphina is that she was a citizen of Mireditch, one who participated in the Theater of Blood, one who was victor, but eventually became an experiment within the theater itself and is found in the first room as the Maiden of Sugadinti. But what is also known is that Seraphina, being the only victor of the theater, is what gave hope to the citizens of Mireditch that they too could be the victor. At the time of her participation, many citizens had given up all hope of ever defeating any of the monsters within the Theater of Blood. Citizens began to stop trying to win their freedom. So now, many think Seraphina may never have even existed. She was just made up as a token of hope for the citizens. But when the Butcher entered the chambers of Lady Verzik, did he find that Seraphina had actually defeated Lady Verzik? Or maybe Lady Verzik was Seraphina? We do know that Lady Verzik was bitten by a Niloka, which changed her, caused her to gain immense amount of weight, and also made her vulnerable to any weapons, whereas most vampires are only vulnerable to silver weapons. Next time we discuss lore, we'll continue with this, and we might just figure out the mystery of Seraphina, Lady Verzik, and what had happened to the Butcher. All right, now that we're back, we're going to run over to the Grand Exchange. This is where we get to tell you about what's going on in the show. First things first, we have Audible. Get a free month and a free audiobook at audibletrial.com/wild. Magpie, you have any experience with audiobooks or books in general?
I do. I know, keeping up with where Deegan left off, he was ripping through Harry Potter audiobooks. My favorite audiobook series is another set of Harry Potter audiobooks, to the point where he and I have discussed our favorites.
Like you have a favorite different narrators?
Yeah. I like the Stephen Fry audiobooks. And I also like my favorite like Audible book total, like full stop audiobook, is Stephen Fry narrating the complete Sherlock Holmes collection.
Oh, interesting.
So
very cool.
Let's just say I made the most out of that free month.
Nice. I mean, yeah, that's the way to do it. And I had a little kerfluffle with Audible, but they're a pretty good company. They, I mentioned it before, but I didn't realize I was still being charged after I thought I canceled it. So I called them up and they would refund me it. And they were like, sorry about that. But hey, if you want, you have 6 credits, you can spend it and we'll still refund you all of it. And I was like, thank you. But honestly, I don't want to look for books. Just get rid of it. I just want to get this taken care of right now. So there's tons to listen to out there. audibletrial.com/wild. Or you can support the show directly. You can do that at patreon.com/thewilderness podcast. Our supporter of the week is Brian Norwood. And what me and Magpie did about a week ago, that's redundant to say. I was going to say before we were recording this here, I'm getting a little tired, so nothing's making sense. We sat down, we had a little ramble session, which is where we just shoot the shit about RuneScape stuff, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing that, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. Why am I bringing this up in the Patreon part? Well, I had it come out like 2 days earlier on Patreon, and then it came out for free on the normal feed, as you can see it now. And it's going to be something that I want to keep doing with multiple different guests. It's called OSRS Rambles, and just talk about the state of the game and people's journeys with it, and all types of people, not just someone just listen to the show, or maybe some elite PVMer, maybe somebody who runs a clan, maybe it's a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, or someone who makes music, or maybe it's just a normal person who has kids and has to tell us how he's able.
Maybe someone runs an OSRS podcast.
Maybe.
I'll interview Dills. Every single episode is just me and you interviewing each other.
I feel like I've heard all of this already. It's like they're not even trying anymore.
It's just like, when a show runs out of steam, so they just rehash their best moments.
Yeah.
We'll just do that for every episode ever.
Remember the song of the Elves? Like, guys, that came out 4 years ago. Come on. Yeah, so we're going to do more of that. It's not going to be a normal schedule. It's just something that I'll do to supplement it when I have time. So patreon.com/thewilderness podcast for a little early access if you're looking for it. And if I ever get the lore segments recorded beforehand, I'll throw them up there. But anyways, you don't have to use that. You'll get it all for free after some odd time. So let's move on to our player designed skill. Man, we're just jamming everything into here. So we had a survey out where people could vote on what they thought was their favorite skill. And well, the votes are in, and there was a tie for first place. And that was piracy and cryptozoology. So really? There was and I was watching it, and there was times where there was one skill in the lead, and then another skill would overtake it, and then another one would overtake it. It was an interesting race to see. But I'm going to be getting in contact with everyone who did submit one of their skill ideas, because we're going to give a reward to every single person. So I will get in touch, but also get in touch with me, because I can get kind of busy, and it's sometimes shit can be harder to keep track of, and I'm going to be a little bit slow about it. But I'll get an email out, but also message me in game as well. So thank you again for those skill suggestions. Thought it was really cool. And when Jagex was talking about their warding thing, I would throw up the recording, and I was like, Jagex, listen to this. Some good design skills here, but
yeah, feels
we'll wait till RuneFest. Maybe they came up with something.
Blast it at a loudspeaker, dude. At RuneFest if you're still trying to get there. But
start
I voted for piracy actually, so maybe I was the deciding vote.
Oh, you might have been the deciding vote. Well, yeah. All right, though, but we're gonna start wrapping this thing up. We did get a bunch of emails to talk about. We're gonna wait till next week because I have a feeling next week's gonna be a bit slower since look at all the content we had to talk about, right? And it seems the theme seems to be a big update and then a little bit of a lull for the next few weeks as they tweak it. But if you do send an email and I don't reply right away, it's not because I haven't acknowledged it. It's just I'm so worried that I'm going to reply to it, and then I'm going to and then during the podcast recording, I'm accidentally going to miss it because it shows up now it's red. Now that I'm saying that, I could easily organize the email so that I can put in its own little folder. I'm going to have to do that. Anyways, I apologize if I haven't responded right away. But yeah, we're going to get to your emails. We're going to save it for next week because there's some cool stuff here, talking about partnerships, talking about splashing, and just talking about some strange interactions that happen in RuneScape. So excited to talk about it. And we also got guess what? Another podcast came out with a similar name.
Another one? Is that a third?
It's the second. So we have The Wilderness, which is a political podcast, like Donald Trump and stuff, I guess. Then we have Wilderness Podcast.
Which is about the wilderness actually this time?
It's about nature and stuff. So I got some email about weather forecasts or something. I don't know. Yeah, Adam, we'll get to your email next week. This is
Tammy from Alabama. I really enjoyed your episode on crawling doomslingers. I don't know any butterfly species. I really enjoyed your podcast on black warlocks. I was wondering what you meant when you said they were only found in the farming guild. Do you mean like the farmer's market?
Is that an actual butterfly, black warlock?
I have no idea. I'm into birds, dude. I don't know shit about insects.
You're a bird person. Yeah. We don't hang out with those butterfly people. All right, now before we close up the show, there's a few things going on within the podcast. So we'll be bringing this up as it goes on. But as mentioned, Exras, he plans on going to RuneFest. And once we figure out how the actual procedure goes down, but he says what he wants to do is talk to some RuneScape content creators while he's there. So we're going to hook him up with a microphone for his mobile phone, or I think he might actually hook himself up. We'll cross the bridge when we get closer to the date, but we're going to be asking who do you want to hear from and what kind of questions you want. And we're going to find out if we're able to do something like that while he's at RuneFest and searching out for the VR. So you can let us know now, but also keep your eyes out for some sort of discussion on what content creators you want him to talk to and what questions you want him to ask. The next thing we're going to talk about is from Ohm in our Discord and clan chat. He had the suggestion of would be cool if we kind of decided on a home world. Just a general world that we could all play on if you're not bossing or doing mini games, or if you're just screwing around. This way, we would quite often bump into people more often. Would we bump into other people in the clan chat? And that's all. I mean, that happens from time to time, and it's always kind of exciting. Like, oh, who's this? And then you type out, "Hey, found you." So there's a survey he has on Discord, but we're going to post it around so you can tell us what world you would like, and maybe we can settle on a home world. A lot of people seem to be interested in that, so yeah, we'll see if we can set something up. And finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is I had this cool idea. Actually, I'm in a Facebook group for RuneScape. Are you any RuneScape Facebook groups?
No, I don't even use RuneScape, but I mean, I don't use Facebook.
He's an imposter.
Damn.
Okay, well, I am in a few Facebook groups one of them did was they had this viewing party for some RuneScape video that somebody made. And I got the notification, checked it out, and there was like 20 people all watching it together. I thought it was kind of cool. It gave me the idea of having our own sort of RuneScape viewing parties. So I put it on Discord if anyone was interested, just to gauge the interest levels. And a lot of people said they were interested in having some sort of group viewing party. So then I asked, like, how would you want to do it? You can do it on Facebook. There's third-party sites, and I could also stream it, and we could all hang out and watch it through there. A lot of people said they wanted the streams, and a lot of people said using a third-party site. We could probably find a blend of both. But if that's something you're interested in, let us know. It's in the events channel right now on Discord, but tell us on any of the other social medias. But the idea would be like, hey, Settled comes out with a new video. Maybe every Friday at 7 p.m. we'll all meet up and watch the series together and play RuneScape on the side. Or maybe we'll binge watch the series from the very beginning. Just an idea. Thought it was different. It might be fun. So if you're interested, let me know.
Oh yeah.
Whew, and I think that is it. If not, well, you know what? Let's cut it off here, and we'll
let's just fade to black.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Sorry it took so long. It happens. Yeah, if you want to hang out with us in game, it's WildCC. Email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. Facebook is facebook.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our Twitter is thewildernessrs, and our Discord is pinned on Facebook and Twitter. Magpie, you got any social media, or you have a Discord, or do you have a clan chat that you want to plug?
I have a Discord. Again, DM me for the details. There's no permanent link or anything if you just want to hang out and stuff. I don't stream or anything, so not really. I'm not even on like Twitter too much, but I do have a Twitch. I just like do it to save files of like raids and stuff. But yeah, pretty much. I'll plug you guys again if you want, though. Wilderness Podcast. Check out the Wilderness Podcast. I guess I'll pay homage to Deegan, say Twitch, Twitter, DeeganRS.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I have been streaming more regularly, and I plan on doing it of the month of August. So you can check out the Dills. I do a hardcore Iron Man PvP series, and I mean, if we do the viewings, it might be on like the viewing parties might be on Twitch. If you want to follow me on the other social medias, I did a whole rebranding today, and I got to redo it. But Facebook is digital.dill. Instagram is digital_dill, and Twitter is digital_Dylan. None of them are the same, which is the worst thing you could do. But I figured if I do like a radio show at my work/school, so I'm always posting it on there. But I figured I'm gonna do like a one-stop shop of podcasting, streaming, radio shows, and then I almost forgot. And then I like to just dick around on the Instagram stories and stuff too. So you can check all that fun stuff out. But the problem is all three of them aren't the same, and that's a huge issue. So I'm going to be we'll be rebranding in the future.
Very shortly. Rebranding immediately after a rebrand.
I know. I was like doing it. I was like, this is terrible, especially when I'm like saying it out loud now and I have to remember which one's which. Facebook doesn't allow underscores. Instagram doesn't allow dots. They're owned by the same fucking company. Doesn't make sense, but whatever. All right, Magpie, thanks so much for coming on the show. This was awesome. I had a great time, and we're definitely gonna have to do more of these, and we'll keep you updated. You know, if Deegan decides to return to the show, we'll keep updates going. We're not really sure. We're playing it by ear.
Yeah.
But regardless, I had a lot of fun. Magpie, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me again. Always a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. I think you added some really cool perspectives and insights, and you got me thinking.
Nice. Well, I don't do enough of that, so if I can do it to other people, I guess that's a net contribution.
That's why I'm so loopy right now.
Podcast? You know what I didn't say? 100%. So that's a successful podcast for me.
You know what I say? I realized I say a lot after the ramble one, and then I think, I don't know, this episode too, I say exactly a lot.
Really? I would notice that.
I noticed it when I did like a radio show with a schoolmate of mine last Wednesday, and I said it like I responded to him saying exactly like 3 times in a row, and then I realized I said it like twice on the ramble thing with you, and I was like, oh no.
Twice is fine. You're fine.
Yeah, for now that I've mentioned it, people are going to be looking out for it. Maybe not. But anyways, a song of the week will be Song of the Elves. All right, I love that song. Let me find some details about it.
It came out 4 years ago.
It's just sitting. It was what do they call it? A sleeper content. Cell.
Oh, yeah,
dead. Dead content, that too. Literally dead. Risen from the dead. Oh, Song of the Elves here. Unlocked in the Grand Library of the Quest, and it was done by Julian Surma. So, came out last week. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. Sorry it took a little bit longer, but here we are. And again, one last thank you to Magpie. We'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.